The boy, burning with resentment toward the chaebol heiress who had humiliated him, let the drug's feverish heat take over as he slammed her against the wall. His lips crashed down on hers, a domineering, desperate kiss that nearly devoured her whole. She felt as if her lips were being torn away. Smack. Her palm landed hard across his face, sending him reeling and collapsing to the floor in a daze. She wanted to hit him again to vent her anger, but the mission bound her that if she couldn't stop this villain from falling into darkness, she'd never return to her original world. In her first life, she had been the pampered daughter of a wealthy family who drove out her green tea stepmother and that unwanted stepbrother. But fate mocked her. She died in a car accident soon after. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself reborn inside a novel, as the vicious supporting character. Her only way out: prevent the villain's blackening and rewrite the tragic end. The original heiress Xing Wan had lived high and mighty, clinging obsessively to the high school heartthrob. She even targeted her own cousin who liked the same boy, suppressing her at every turn. In broad daylight, she openly humiliated and trampled on the villain. Worse, she suspected the school doctor of being her father's illegitimate son, and schemed against him without mercy. But after her parents' downfall, the so-called princess fell from grace overnight, despised by everyone. Forced into the nightlife, she became nothing more than a plaything for men. The school idol Gu Lanfeng and her cousin Xing Mian both rose to fame, becoming rising stars in the entertainment industry. The once bullied villain, Yi Nanxing, transformed into the sole heir of China's #1 chaebol family. Even the school doctor Shang Yu, the one she once framed, unexpectedly turned out to be the head of a mysterious foreign clan. And Xing Wan. She met her miserable end, sick and abandoned, only to die in a sudden car crash. Yi Nanxing's path to becoming the ultimate villain was all thanks to the original Xing Wan. Humiliated and trampled, he had no chance to earn money for his mother's treatment. When she passed away, grief consumed him and his heart turned to darkness. Her mission now was clear: stop Yi Nanxing before his corruption was complete. Only then could she, the stand-in for this cannon fodder villainess, rewrite her doomed ending. Fate dropped her back to the very first time Xing Wan bullied him, when the poor boy was ordered around like a servant. The original girl had told him to buy ice cream. By the time he returned, it had melted. In a fit of rage, she hurled it straight at him. That was the moment she woke up inside this body. Just after the ice cream had splattered all over him, what she saw was a drenched, humiliated Yi Nanxing. Xing Wan couldn't help sighing for the original, a chaebol heiress with wealth to burn and countless young idols eager to chase her. And yet she wasted it all playing childish bully games. Before she could even process it, the so-called plastic besties beside her were already pushing Yi Nanxing around, sneering as if he were trash. A crisp system chime rang in her ears. Frowny face ding. Yi Nanxing's blackening value plus 20%. Current blackening value, 80%. To preserve the last 20% of Yi Nanxing's sanity bar, Xing Wan snapped for the first time. She glared at her so-called besties and hissed, "From now on, if anyone's allowed to bully him, it's me." Yi Nanxing had already braced himself for her usual torment. Instead, she told him to leave. The sudden shift left him stunned. What's with her today? Not that he cared. He still had to head to the underground ring to fight for cash. He simply asked her for today's errand fee. Xing Wan thought, money's not an issue. The original body had more than enough. She transferred extra to him, hoping it might nudge his favorability up a notch. But her plastic friends weren't happy. Didn't you say we'd teach him a lesson in front of Gu Lanfeng? How's the school idol supposed to know your feelings if you don't? Xing Wan rolled her eyes. She wasn't about to waste brain cells on these two clowns. With a casual excuse, she turned to leave. The original girl actually baked under the sun just to watch basketball. Seriously, she could have been at a club sipping champagne while young idols stripped on stage. Just as she was about to go, the plastic sisters yanked her back. The school idol's right there. You can't miss this chance. At that very moment, Gu Lanfeng glanced their way. His expression filled with disdain and obvious disgust. Xing Wan caught it all, and strangely enough, the sight of his contempt set her blood boiling. She scoffed aloud. Look at him, face red, nostrils flaring like that. Tell me that's not a damn baboon. The two girls gaped in shock. She just compared their godlike crush to a baboon. But Xing Wan didn't bother to explain. She simply strode away without looking back. On her way back to class, Xingwan's mind raced with only one thought. How do I bring Yi Nanxing's blackening value down? She had to finish the mission fast, and if she couldn't return to her world in time, once her father died, that scheming stepmother and son duo would come back with a vengeance. And then she would truly have nothing left. Compelled by instinct, she pushed open the equipment room door, only to be yanked inside by a hand dripping with blood. Luckily, both she and the original body had practiced self-defense. She wasn't a master, but she was more than capable of fighting back. The man clearly hadn't expected the girl to resist so well that he had wanted to subdue her, to keep his secret hidden. But now he found himself forced on the defensive. I'm the school doctor, he said quickly. Not a bad guy. This injury, it's from escaping after being kidnapped by my father's illegitimate son. At that moment, the system chimed, flooding her vision with a profile screen. Character data, Shangyu, school doctor of First High School. In the original plot, Shangyu had been mistaken for her father's illegitimate child. Because of Xingwan's schemes, he was forced to leave the school in disgrace. But hidden in the larger arc, he was actually tied to Leslie Norman, the patriarch, and played a key role in the family's power struggles. Right now, Xingwan still had a chance to change things. She decided on the spot to help him and even considered calling the police. But Shangyu rejected it flatly. No family scandals can't be exposed, and if you want to help me, fetch a change of clothes from the infirmary. Xingwan accepted the key. Find that I can't do anything about him now. Better to keep this favor. Who knows, it might come in handy later. But the moment she left, Shangyu pulled out his phone, his tone icy. The files have been sent, but don't leave a single witness. Hearing her footsteps return, he smoothly ended the call. Xingwan walked in with fresh bandages and a white coat. To avoid suspicion, Shangyu unbuttoned his shirt right in front of her. If he was going to put on an act, he'd go all the way. His 8-pack abs gleamed under the fluorescent light. Xingwan's eyes flicked over the perfect lines of muscle. Her face stayed cold as she muttered, "Let me do it." Carefully, she wrapped the bandage around his waist. Shangyu, however, found himself staring. Why does this girl look familiar? A mixed blood, maybe? Within moments, the bandaging was done. One day I'll repay you properly, he said. She only gave a faint before turning to leave. As soon as she was gone, his phone buzzed. The intel he'd ordered had arrived. When he opened it, his eyes darkened. The girl was blood of the Norman family. His thoughts grew venomous. Leslie had shown him kindness on the surface, but in truth he favored that idiot elder brother. But if I hold Leslie's precious daughter in my hand, who would he trust more? His so-called brother, or me? After leaving Shangyu, Xingwan followed the system's guidance to track down Yi Nanxing, but he was nowhere in sight. Instead, from a narrow alley, she caught the sound of Xing Mian's voice. Creeping closer, she pressed herself to the wall and listened. To her surprise, Xing Mian was apologizing to Yi Nanxing on her behalf. Xingwan nearly laughed out loud. Classic White Lotus routine: pretend to be kind, gain attention, and step on me in the process. Fortunately, Yi Nanxing's expression was cold. He clearly wasn't buying it. The truth was, Xing Mian had always liked Gu Lanfeng, the school idol. But with so many chasing him, and his ego inflated from constant adoration, she decided to change her target. After all, Yi Nanxing ranked second on the school's campus heartthrob list. He wasn't any worse than Gu Lanfeng. In fact, he was ignored by most, invisible in the crowd. A boy starved of affection like that, if she got close, showed him care, wouldn't he fall for her easily? The thought thrilled Xing Mian. She longed for the special treatment only he could give. But before she could act, a gang of street punks cornered Yi Nanxing. That he had beaten their boss in the underground ring, and now they'd come to teach him a lesson. Xing Mian trembled violently, fear overwhelmed her, and she slipped away without looking back. Yi Nanxing, however, stood tall as the top fighter. He faced 4 men head-on. His fists moved like thunder, dropping them one after another to the ground. The scar-faced leader, realizing the fight was lost, pulled out a vial of some drug. With a vicious gleam in his eyes, he lunged forward, aiming to stab Yi Nanxing when he least expected it. Instinctively, Yi Nanxing raised his arm to block, but the syringe stabbed deep into his flesh, the drug flooding into his veins. Shocked, he shoved the scar-faced thug away. With gritted teeth, he yanked the syringe out and smashed it to pieces. But already, a wave of dizziness crashed into his skull. His palm braced against the wall, struggling to stay upright. yet the heat surging through his body left him weak and trembling. Two punks grabbed his arms, dragging him toward the underground ring. Their sneers were vicious. "Time to hand you over to those freak uncles to let's see how long you last." Despair flickered. Was this really how he would fall? Suddenly, wailing sirens split the air. "Police! Over here!" The punks panicked and bolted without looking back. Once the alley was empty, Xingwan peeked out, clutching her phone. The siren had only been a recording she'd played. She strode forward, finding Yi Nanxing collapsed on the ground, drained and pale. Kneeling, she reached out, only to freeze at the sight of his flushed cheeks and fever-bright eyes. "Damn, he looks dangerous." Smack! Her palm cracked across his face. "Who told you to scare me like that?" But she had no choice. Mission first. She bent down, hoisting his weakened frame, intending to get him to a hospital before it was too late. Just then, the drug's effects erupted fully. With sudden force, Yi Nanxing slammed her against the wall. His lips crashed onto hers, hot and domineering. Xingwan froze for exactly 0.88 seconds, utterly dumbfounded. Then, smack. Another slap landed. Drugged and burning, Yi Nanxing finally collapsed, his body hitting the ground like a pile of useless mud. Xingwan originally wanted to land a few more punches to vent her frustration. But then she thought his blackening value is already sky-high, that if I push it over the edge, I'm screwed. So she let it go. "Forget it. I'm the righteous beauty who can't ignore injustice. That if someone's in trouble, I help. That's just how it is." She called a cab, dropped Yi Nanxing off at the hospital, handed him to the doctors, and finally returned home with a sigh of relief. Just as she sat down, ready to devour the delicious spread her mom had cooked, a sudden, urgent knock rattled the door. The visitor, her aunt Xingmian's mother, Zhou Ru. Her mom opened the door, surprised to see her sister-in-law at such a late hour. Zhou Ru immediately turned on the fake warmth, clutching her hands. "Sister, I need to borrow your jewelry set, worth 10 billion yuan just for a wedding. You know, to save face." But in the original body's memories, Zhou Ru was notorious for borrowing and never returning. Worse, when Xingwan's parents had their accident, she was the first to seize their house and throw mother and daughter out into the street. This time, to get what she wanted, Zhou Ru even pulled out the elderly grandma card, guilt-tripping her sister. Her mom wavered, about to fetch it, until Xingwan stopped her. "Last time you borrowed a necklace and never returned it. Return that first. Then we'll talk about the jewelry," Xingwan said coldly. Zhou Ru's face twisted. "Since when do kids get to butt into adult matters?" she snapped, then went on the offensive, reminding everyone how much she and her husband had supposedly done for the family, accusing mother and daughter of being ungrateful. To make matters worse, she dragged in the neighbors as an audience, playing the victim while dumping bucket after bucket of dirty water on them. But her aunt had underestimated Xingwan. This wasn't some helpless girl. This was the same drama queen who once ripped her green tea stepmother to shreds. Grabbing her mother's hand, Xingwan burst into tears on cue. "We barely have enough to survive as it is." Her voice trembled as she piled it on. "Last time, Auntie even said we had to pay back Grandma's hospital bills. But wasn't it Mom who already covered all the medical expenses? And you forced us to cough up 600,000 all at once." Her mom hesitated, confused for a moment, until Xingwan blinked at her wildly, signaling like mad. Finally catching on, her mom nodded and joined the act, playing the wronged victim to perfection. Her mother finally caught on, slipping seamlessly into the act. "Yes, sister-in-law. Back then, I paid all the hospital bills for the elders. I only did it because you and my brother were there to care for them, so I shouldered the cost. Later, I even gave you another 600,000. So why do you still say I owe you?" Zhou Ru faltered, left speechless under the mother-daughter tag team. That was when Xingwan stepped forward, gripping her aunt's hand firmly. "Auntie, last time you borrowed Mom's necklace and never returned it. Now you're here for more jewelry. My mom hardly has anything left. Can't you leave her at least one piece?" Forced back step by step, Zhou Ru growled, "I'll return it, fine." Then she viciously flung Xingwan's hand away. "You little half-foreign kid, why are you always so calculating?" Xingwan seized the chance, stumbling dramatically into her mother's arms, voice trembling. "A half-foreign brat accusing me of faking it. I didn't even pull that hard." Tears welled in her eyes as she cried louder. "I'm not a half-foreign brat. I'm a citizen of Huagua. You can't bully me and my mom just because we won't lend you jewelry." The onlookers quickly caught on. Zhou Ru was pulling the classic accuse the victim first routine, Whispers of disapproval spread, and she suddenly found herself the target of every accusing stare. Flustered, she snapped, "Fine. I'll return that stupid necklace tomorrow, as if I even wanted it." With that, she stormed off. Watching her aunts retreating back, Xingwan finally let out a breath of relief. "Good riddance. Thought you could outplay me? Please, you're not even on the board." She glanced at the time. By now, Yi Nanxing should be waking up. At the hospital, Yi Nanxing stirred, eyes fluttering open. Confusion hit first. Why was he lying here? The nurse's arrival calmed him a little. He immediately asked who had brought him in. The nurse replied, "A girl about your age." Handing him the paperwork, she added, "The fees have already been paid by her. Just finish this 4-drip and you can go home." Yi Nanxing leaned back against the bed, frowning. Who was it? His memory was a haze. After being injected, he'd completely lost control. He couldn't remember anything about how he got here. The last face flashing through his mind was Xing Myung. Could it be? She ran away but then came back to save me? Pulling out his phone, he found her on the class group chat and sent a friend request. He didn't like getting involved with people. But whoever it was had saved him, paid his bills, even covered the cab. On top of that, he'd offended her earlier. At the very least, he owed a thank you, and a transfer of the medical and taxi fees. On the other side, Xing Mian blinked at her phone in confusion. A transfer notification. A sorry. From Yi Nanxing. She stared at the screen, baffled. What on earth is he thanking me for? From Yi Nanxing's words, it was obvious. Someone had saved him and paid his hospital bill. He simply mistook that person for Xing Mian. Xing Mian's lips curved in secret delight. Perfect. If he thinks it was me, I'll play along. Won't it be easier to win him over this way? Already she was plotting how to reel him in. That night, Zhou Ru stormed back home, fury written on her face. "Tomorrow, return that necklace to the little foreign girl," she barked. But Xing Mian had no intention of giving back the priceless piece. Instead, she pulled out a cheap imitation, smirking. "Why not just return this fake instead?" Zhou Ru molded over, resentment burning in her chest. "After all I did to care for their parents, they can't even spare me a necklace. Fine, let them have the fake." Xing Mian, however, had darker plans. "Perfect, I'll use this fake necklace to humiliate Xing Wan in front of everyone. Let's see how high and mighty the so-called heiress looks then." The next morning at school, Xing Wan climbed the stairs, only to notice everyone whispering behind their hands. Soon her 2-inch followers rushed over, filling her in on the gossip. At once, memories of the original storyline came flooding back. I end the novel. Someone spread rumors that she was a fake rich girl. And the original Xing Wan's reaction: march to the front and flaunt her wealth with fistfuls of cash. Just then, the system chimed in, frowny face alert. The rumor's source equals Xing Mian. Xing Wan's eyes narrowed. So she isn't the sweet, innocent girl she pretends to be after all. A sly thought struck her. Why not flip the script? If I play the pauper, Zhou Ru won't come knocking for loans. Every other day, she stomped her foot and cried out, feigning outrage. Who said that? That's nonsense. I'm not a fake socialite. Everyone stared at Xing Wan's flustered look, whispering non-stop. Even her 2 supposed followers quickly switched sides. Escaping the crowd, Xing Wan let out a quiet sigh of relief, only to turn around and find Xing Mian standing right there. With a sweet smile, Xing Mian held out a gift box. Wan, you're here. This is the necklace my mom asked me to return to you." Xing Wan took the box and flipped it open on the spot. Xing Mian's heart pounded. She won't notice it's a knockoff, right? But Xing Wan shoved it back into her hands, her voice cold. "This isn't it. If you want to return something, return the actual necklace." With that, she turned to leave. Xing Mian grabbed her arm. The commotion instantly drew a crowd of curious classmates. With a sharp huff, Xing Mian suddenly let go, deliberately falling backward to the ground with a pitiful cry. Students rushed to help her up, glaring at Xing Wan. "How could you push her like that?" Xing Wan only laughed under her breath, eyes glinting with disdain. As Xing Mian tried to rise, Xing Wan pushed her back down. With a thud, Xing Mian hit the floor again, eyes wide in shock. Xing Wan leaned down, her voice like ice. "Isn't this the act you wanted? Playing weak. If you get up too fast, the drama doesn't sell." Tears welled in Xing Mian's eyes as she whispered, Wan, looking utterly fragile. Just then, footsteps approached. Jiu Lanfeng strode forward, crouched down and helped Xing Wan up. For a moment, warmth flickered in her chest. She gave him a grateful look, until he spoke. Apologize to her. Xingwan chuckled coldly, rising to her feet. Apologize? And who the hell do you think you are to order me? The crowd around them buzzed louder, voices overlapping. Someone bent down, picking up the necklace. There's no way Xingwan's mom could afford something this expensive. She's a fake rich girl. It has to be counterfeit. Hearing that, Xingmian's lips curled in a smug smile. Xingwan only sneered back. Whether it's this necklace, or that boy you're so desperate to claim, both are things I don't even care to look at. Stepping closer, she patted Xingmian on the shoulder, her voice sharp as a blade. If you like them so much, take them. Consider it charity, my little act of poverty relief. With that, she turned and strode away without a glance back at Jiu Lanfeng. Instinctively leaned down to help Xingmian. Are you all right? He asked. Xingmian gave a weak, pitiful smile. I'm fine. Behind him, whispers rose. Did Xingwan stop liking Gu Lanfeng? The way she spoke to him just now. Hearing this, Gu Lanfeng's face darkened instantly. Climbing the stairs, Xingwan's eyes narrowed. Xingmian is clearly no saint, so why is she the protagonist of this world? Right then, the system's voice chimed, frowny face analysis. Protagonist aura detected. Xingmian equals bearer of fate's chi luck. With this blessing, even a hypocritical white lotus would find her career smooth and her love life flawless. Destined to be this world's heroine. Xingwan froze, a chill spreading in her chest, so the original self was nothing but the counterweight to that luck. And no matter how strong her hand, she was always doomed to lose it all. Xingwan snapped back to focus. I have to act. If I don't, I'll never complete this mission. She immediately pinged the system's support to track Yi Nanxing's location. Crash. Several bottles of red wine shattered against the floor, the scent heavy in the air. A furious man roared, Yi Nanxing, what the hell did you do? Do you even know how much this costs? Can you pay for it? Yi Nanxing dropped to his knees, bowing his head. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Sorry, the man spat. Sorry won't pay my bills. Compensate me. This crate alone cost 888 yuan wholesale. Yi Nanxing froze at the number, his head hanging lower. All this hauling, and I only earned 200 a load. Mom's been getting worse these past few days. I need every coin for the hospital. His fists clenched tighter, nails digging into his palms. Footsteps approached. Xingwan appeared, taking in the sight of the boy on the ground. Her chest tightened. Every cent he earns is his mother's lifeline. She recalled bitterly. The original me even sabotaged him once, getting him fired. No wonder his revenge later was so ruthless. The man raised his hand, ready to strike. Enough. Xingwan's sharp voice cut through the tension. Yi Nanxing looked up just in time to see her toss a wad of bills straight at the man's chest. Her voice was cool, disdainful. It's just a few hundred. Take it. But watch your filthy mouth and don't you dare lay a hand on him. The man glanced at the money, his expression faltering. With a grudging grunt, he waved Yi Nanxing off. You're lucky, kid. Get lost. Wiping the blood from his lip, Yi Nanxing rose to his feet. Xingwan's voice broke the silence. Hey, you okay? He didn't answer. She raised a brow. Really? That's how you treat your savior? Yi Nanxing finally spoke, his tone sharp. Fine. Just say it. What do you want me to do this time? Xingwan walked ahead, hands clasped behind her back. With the state you're in, what could I possibly make you do? His face darkened, yet he followed. Suddenly she stopped and glanced back. What's wrong? You that short on cash? Her gaze sharpened. Then from now on you'll work for me. That means you're my guide, and if someone dares mess with you, that's the same as slapping me in the face. Pulling out her phone, she transferred 5,000 on the spot. Here's your salary. From now on, just do as I say. Got it? Yi Nanxing's fists clenched. He despised her arrogance, hated her smugness. But with his mother sick, he couldn't refuse the money. He braced himself, ready for the humiliation to follow. Instead, Xingwan simply waved him off. Go home. Rest for a few days. She hummed a cheerful tune as she walked away, leaving Yi Nanxing staring after her, stunned. Back home, sprawled across her bed, Xingwan sighed. So this is it. The reason he turns black, his mother's illness. The lack of money. How do I slip him the money, without him realizing it's charity? If I act too obvious, he'll start suspecting me. Xingwan's eyes lit up. She shot upright from bed with a sudden idea. In the original storyline, Yi Nanxing had taken side gigs as a game booster. Perfect. She quickly registered a new account, disguising herself as a client. On the other end, Yi Nanxing accepted the friend request. A simple emoji popped up. Then came the message. Do you take new account boosting? Yes, he replied cautiously. Payment first. A moment later, ding, 5,000 yuan hit his account. Yi Nanxing's eyes widened. He hurried to type back, only to see another message. Sometimes I'll need companionship play too. Payment up front, I'll top up if it's not enough. His heart thumped wildly. Strange. Who spends money like this? But at least now I can finally take mom to the hospital. Meanwhile, Xingwan's system chimed, frowny face blackening, value 5%. Current, 65%. She flopped back onto her bed, grinning in satisfaction. Not bad. Next time I'll push it further. The next day, as she walked through campus, the chatter of students reached her ears. Then it hit her. Today was the day. In the original plot, this was when a film crew scouted the school. Xing Mian had been discovered, auditioned, and landed the female lead, launching her into stardom. The original Xingwan had gone too, but only as background noise. Not worth my time, she thought. I'll pass. Just then, a voice called from behind. Excuse me, would you be interested in trying out? Xingwan turned to find the assistant director of the crew, explaining they were short one minor role. Her lips curved. So Xingmian should be auditioning right now, huh? Fine. Let's see if fate's golden darling can really sail through unscathed, she agreed on the spot. The assistant director escorted Xingwan into the audition hall. Minutes later, the test was over. Stretching lazily as she stepped out, she came face to face with Xingmian. Xingmian's expression was stormy. Xingwan, are you seriously doing this on purpose? Competing with me? Xingwan arched a brow, her gaze taunting. That's right. I am. Xingmian's whole body trembled with rage. You stole Gu Lanfeng, now you're stealing my audition too. Xingwan, just how jealous are you that you have to fight me over everything? Xingwan's tone stayed cool, her lips curling. What's wrong? Scared already? She turned with a faint laugh, ready to leave. Xingmian's eyes glinted. Hey, you asked for this. Shooting her cousin one last glare, Xingmian suddenly hurled herself backward, crashing onto the ground with a dramatic cry. Ah, Nuan, don't. Her voice shook as she whimpered, it hurts. Xingnuan only smiled, watching the performance with icy amusement. That little stunt might work, but honestly, your act is pathetic. Aren't you afraid someone's going to expose you one day? The surrounding students gasped, their expressions turning sharp. To them, it looked once again like Xingnuan was bullying poor Xingmian. Sniffling, Xingmian whispered, this is the old building. The cameras have been broken for years. Xingnuan's eyes turned to ice. Without hesitation, she swung her hand. Smack. A stinging slap landed across Xingmian's face. Before she could recover, someone suddenly shoved her aside. Xingmian staggered, tumbling to the floor once again. Gu Lanfeng froze, an awkward look flashing across his face. I didn't mean to push that hard. Xingmian scrambled up, rolling up her sleeves, her eyes full of venom. Good. Very good. Jiu Lanfeng, you dare raise a hand against me? A man hitting a woman. Let's see you explain this. Suddenly, voices rang out from the crowd. Teachers here. The disciplinary director stormed in, face dark as thunder. He jabbed a finger at the three of them. You and you, my office, now. Before leaving, Xingmian shot Xingnuan a sharp sideways glance, her eyes glinting with both pride and malice. Xingnuan, unbothered, jabbed a finger at Gu Lanfeng. Her voice rang cold and clear. Remember this, we're not finished. What none of them noticed was the shadow lingering nearby. Hidden in the corner, Shangyu held up his phone, quietly recording the entire scene. Watching the footage play on his screen, a faint smirk tugged at his lips. So even little girls nowadays play their games this cunningly? Huh. Just as the report said, this one's got fire. Interesting. Inside the office, the discipline director's face was stern. Xingnuan, why did you push Xingmian? Xingnuan's gaze was steady. I didn't push her. Gu Lanfeng frowned. Didn't push her. Then what about the slap? Are you denying that too? Xingnuan turned her head, locking eyes with him. Her voice was cool and sharp. Yes, I slapped her, because she framed me. But tell me, did you actually see me push her? Gu Lanfeng faltered, embarrassment flashing across his face. And no, I didn't. Yet in his heart he thought, I didn't see it, but do I really need to? Xingwan's a repeat offender when it comes to bullying Xingmian. The director shifted his gaze to Xingmian. And you? Why the conflict? Xingmian lowered her lashes, her voice trembling. Xingwan is my cousin. I heard she's been bullying Yi Nanxing, making him run errands for her. That I just wanted to talk to her, but then... The director's expression hardened that he immediately picked up the phone and called Yi Nanxing's homeroom teacher, demanding he be brought in. Minutes later, Yi Nanxing entered the office. The director asked bluntly, Yi Nanxing, answer honestly, has Xingwan been bullying you? Has she been making you run errands? Yi Nanxing answered honestly, yes, I ran errands, but Xingwan paid me. Inwardly he thought, Xingmian helped me once in that alley. This time siding with Xingwan, we're even now. The director slammed the desk, voice booming. Bullying a classmate and paying them for it. Xingwan, where did you even learn such disgraceful behavior? You'll write a reflection, bring your parents tomorrow, and this will be handled severely. Xingwan's expression didn't waver. Sir, which incident exactly are you referring to? I never pushed Xingmian. If the school insists on punishing me, then present the evidence. Otherwise, I won't be calling my parents, I'll be calling my lawyer. The director's face darkened that he glared at her. Oh, so now you dare threaten a teacher? Xingwan remained calm. I'm not threatening you. But if the school can't uncover the truth, then I have no choice but to defend myself legally. She added smoothly, as for Yi Nanxing running errands, I paid him. He accepted that that's a fair transaction, mutually agreed upon. Her gaze slid to Yi Nanxing. Unless of course Yi Nanxing feels it was unfair? Yi Nanxing straightened slightly. No, sir. I agreed to it willingly. The director choked on his words, face tightening in frustration. Meanwhile, Xingmian's mind reeled. What? Yi Nanxing didn't take the chance to get back at Xingwan. The director's eyes swept over the three of them before he finally waved a hand. Go back to class for now. I'll decide how to handle this later. With a flick of her hair, Xingmian spun on her heel and walked out as though she had already won. Inwardly, she was already plotting. I'll leak this to the film crew. Say my cousin framed me out of jealousy for the audition. That'll make me look pitiful and the director will eat it up. Meanwhile, back home, Xingwan sat on her stool after a hot shower, her phone in hand, brows furrowed. Why Yi Nanxing's mother needs surgery fast. The longer it drags on, the more dangerous it gets. A sly smile tugged at her lips. Guess it's time for me to step in as his mysterious, helpful netizen. On the other end, Yi Nanxing stared at his phone in disbelief. A stranger online had sent him messages, asking about his mother's condition, even claiming to know a foreign doctor, Dr. Lauren, who could come to China to operate. His brows knit together. This person says their father knows Dr. Lauren, and they can invite him here? He shook his head, chuckling softly. How old is this netizen really? Only a kid would spout nonsense like that. Dr. Lauren is a world-class expert in this field. Even if it were true, the costs of traveling abroad and the surgery itself, astronomical. Way beyond anything I can afford. The next morning, a notification jolted him awake. He groggily fumbled for his phone. Who's messaging me this early? The message on his phone was clear. Dr. Lauren would be arriving at his hospital the day after tomorrow at noon for an inspection. Yi Nanxing stared, stunned. She really brought a world-class expert here? His grip tightened around his phone. Who is this person, the one capable of changing fate itself? Meanwhile, Xingwan's system chimed in, frowny face, blackening value reduced to 60%. Leaning against the stairwell, she finally exhaled in relief. Just then, two classmates walked past, whispering, Did you hear? Xingmian took leave to join the film crew. But the director's favorite was actually Xingwan. How did it end up being Xingmian? Isn't it obvious? The other girl replied. Xingwan pretends to be a rich girl. She's bullied Xingmian in public more than once. The crew heard the rumors. Who would dare hire someone with that reputation? Xingwan's lips curved into a cold smile. So that's it. This was her real plan all along. She strolled on lazily, murmuring, Just how afraid is she of me stealing her spotlight? But her musings cut short when a girl ran past her in tears. Xingwan's instincts screamed danger. Zhao Yingzi. Her heart sank. Class is about to start. Why is she running upstairs and crying? Without hesitation, Xingwan dashed off to find a teacher. Together, she and the teacher sprinted up to the rooftop. When the door burst open, they saw Zhao Yingzi standing on the edge of the railing, the wind tugging at her hair. Yingzi, the teacher cried desperately. If something's wrong, talk to me. Don't do this. Zhao Yingzi's voice cracked between sobs. I can't turn back anymore. The truth spilled out. She had fallen into predatory online loans, 10,000 snowballing into insurmountable debt. Worse, the lenders had leaked semi-nude photos of her into the school chat groups. Shattered by shame and despair, she had chosen death as her escape. Xingwan took in the whole situation, stepping closer inch by inch, her voice low but steady. We're friends. Whatever it is, I can help you. Please, just come back down, okay? Zhao Yingzi sobbed, her body trembling. You can't help me. They want 10,000. My parents don't even know. They have no money. I can't face them. I've failed them. Suddenly, with a sickening crack, the railing gave way. Zhao Yingzi screamed. Ah! Xingwan lunged forward instinctively. She threw herself to the edge, grabbing Zhao Yingzi's wrist with both hands, sweat slicking her palms. Zhao Yingzi thrashed in panic. Don't move. Xingwan shouted, muscles straining as she held on for dear life. The teacher rushed in, wrapping an arm around Xingwan to anchor her. I can't pay it back. Zhao Yingzi cried hysterically. Let go. I don't want to live anymore. Xingwan's voice cut through her despair. It's only 10,000. I'll pay it for you. Zhao Yingzi shook her head violently, tears streaking down her face. Don't lie to me. You're just a fake rich girl. You don't have that kind of money. Just then, Gu Lanfeng rushed onto the rooftop with a group of students behind him. He grabbed Zhao Yingzi's arm tightly, refusing to let her slip further. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of Xingwan, her sleeve torn open by the railing, her face pale but her grip unyielding. At last, with everyone pulling together, Zhao Yingzi was hauled back to safety. A collective sigh of relief swept through the rooftop. Several students collapsed onto the ground, their legs still shaking from fear. Xingwan immediately pulled out her phone. Give me your account number, she told Zhao Yingzi. I'll transfer the money right now. She added with a calm smile. Honestly, your figure's amazing. Those photos didn't even show anything indecent. It's no different from wearing a swimsuit. Nothing to be afraid of. Zhao Yingzi blinked at her, then suddenly burst into laughter as if a weight had lifted. You're right. They're just lingerie shots. People wear swimsuits everywhere. With a body like mine, why should I be ashamed? But then her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, her eyes widened. Xingwan had really just transferred 100,000 yuan into her account. Shock overtook her, her body went limp and she fainted on the spot. In the infirmary, the doctor dabbed medicine onto Xingwan's scratched arm. Beside them, Shangyu raised a brow. How did you get hurt? Xingwan answered casually. Some idiot tried to jump off a building over something trivial that I played the hero and got scratched. Shangyu frowned. If she's an idiot, why bother saving her? Xingwan shot him a glare. What, do you have antisocial tendencies? Being foolish isn't a crime, she doesn't deserve to die. After a moment of silence, Shangyu finished bandaging her arm. Don't get it wet. Watch your diet, he instructed. Xingwan just muttered an indifferent got it, thanked him and left. Watching her back as she walked away, Shangyu narrowed his eyes. Her behavior doesn't match the file at all. Weren't they supposed to say she was arrogant, stupid, even vicious? This girl seems different. Later, Xingwan went to the hospital to check on Zhao Yingzi. The other girls in the ward looked at her with awkward expressions, whispering inwardly, why is she here? The air grew heavy with tension. Zhao Yingzi suddenly coughed twice, then reached out to grab Xingwan's hand. From now on, Xingwan is my sister. That if anyone dares talk bad about her again, they'll have to answer to me. The girls exchanged glances after Zhao Yingzi's words, mumbling, even if Xingwan is a fake rich girl, we'll still treat her as a sister. Xingwan stared at their earnest faces and almost laughed. Yep, their brains are definitely missing a few screws. Zhao Yingzi fixed them with a sharp look. So what, you're the real rich girls then? The three fell silent instantly, too embarrassed to respond. Zhao Yingzi sighed. Look at me. I'm a walking lesson. Fancy phones, branded bags. It's all just empty vanity. I was too shallow, too childish. Pathetic, really. The three lowered their heads, murmuring in shame. We won't fake it anymore. Pretending won't make us the real thing anyway. Then they turned to Xingwan. You know what it feels like too, right? Xingwan smirked inwardly. How would I know? I've been a bona fide rich girl since birth. After visiting Zhao Yingzi, Xingwan thought to herself, Yinanxing's mother is hospitalized here too. Might as well check in. She walked up to the ward and froze when she overheard voices inside. The doctor's tone was grave. Your mother's treatment will require imported medication. The cost is over 300,000 yuan. Patting Yi Nanxing's shoulder, the doctor added, this is already the lowest estimate. Think it over carefully. Standing at the doorway, Xingwan's brows furrowed. I brought the doctor here. But it's obvious Yi Nanxing can't afford the treatment. She tapped her chin and thought that if I lend him the money now, he'll owe me big. Even if he doesn't feel grateful, at least he won't push me to the brink later. Right? Lost in her calculations, she jumped when Yi Nanxing suddenly emerged from the ward. She forced an awkward smile. I came to see someone else. Just happened to overhear you and the doctor that if your mom's surgery is too expensive, I can help. Yi Nanxing froze, staring at her. First you saved me out of nowhere. Now you want to fund my mother's surgery. His voice was sharp, suspicious. What exactly are you after? Xingwan cursed inwardly. Even now, his guard is this high. If his mother dies like in the original timeline, I'm doomed too. She opened her mouth to explain, but Yi Nanxing brushed past her without a word. Panic flared, she reached out, grabbing his wrist. Wait. He turned, eyes narrowing. Xingwan's face flushed scarlet. I like you. I want to be your girlfriend. Smiling faintly, she locked eyes with him. Say yes, and I'll lend you the money to save your mom. Yi Nanxing pressed his lips together, his face dark. A few days ago she was chasing Gulan Feng. And now she says she likes me. Ridiculous. Xingwan, however, lowered her gaze shyly. If you agree, be my boyfriend for 6 months. I'll pay for your mom's surgery. What do you say? Inwardly she calculated, he'll eventually be reclaimed by his powerful family. But until then I can use this chance to help him, and maybe raise his favorability. For Yi Nanxing, this was the only chance left to save his mother. He finally swallowed his pride and gave a silent nod. Xingwan immediately pulled out her phone and transferred 400,000 yuan without hesitation. When Yi Nanxing offered to sign an IOU, she waved him off. From now on, you're my boyfriend. If you're in trouble, just tell me that I'm your girlfriend. I'll always help you, she said with a sweet smile. Why Yi Nanxing only gave a perfunctory reply, his expression unreadable. Xingwan turned on her heel, waving casually. Take care of things here. I'll visit your mom another day. Left behind, Yi Nanxing stood frozen, his gaze locked on her retreating figure, emotions churning deep within his chest. That evening, Xingwan called her father, Leslie Norman. She wanted to thank him and quietly asked the system assistant to investigate how he had died in the original storyline. The result came back chilling. In 3 days during a grand banquet, Leslie would drink poisoned wine. The toxin would eat away at his body over hours, and by the time anyone noticed, his enemies would finish the job. Xingwan's heart sank. His death defines everything. My identity, my power, my safety. I have to stop it. My little princess, how are you doing back home? Leslie's gentle, warm voice came through the receiver. Xingwan swallowed hard, forcing her voice to tremble. Daddy, I had a terrible dream. You were at a banquet 3 days from now. You drank champagne, and then you collapsed, coughing up blood. Her eyes filled with tears. You were wearing the tie I gave you. It was covered in blood. Leslie fell silent for a few seconds, then replied softly, Sweetheart, don't be scared. It's only a dream. The security here is airtight. I'll be fine. Just then, the butler entered the room holding a neatly pressed suit. Sir, how about this outfit? It goes perfectly with the tie Miss Xing gave you. Leslie froze, eyes widening. Put that tie down now. Tears welled up in Xingwan's eyes as she cried into the phone. Dad, that's the outfit from my dream. Please, don't go to that banquet and don't drink anything there, okay? Leslie's tone softened, a hint of conflict flickering in his eyes. Sweetheart, don't worry, I'll take your dreams seriously. After hanging up, Xingwan still couldn't rest easy. She instructed the system assistant to check whether her father had actually heeded her warning. Moments later, the system responded. Leslie Norman has postponed his attendance and ordered a full security recheck of the banquet. Hearing that, Xingwan finally breathed a sigh of relief. She collapsed onto her bed, hugged her pillow, and drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep. The next morning, as Xingwan entered the equipment room, Mr. Wang stopped her with a smile. Xiaonuan, the director said you did something heroic saving that student. About your issue with Xing Mian, he's decided to drop it. Then the teacher added, by the way, are you good at piano or violin? The school anniversary concert needs a solo pianist. Xing Mian was supposed to perform, but since she's on leave, I was hoping you could take her place. Xing Wan blinked. She wasn't exactly a prodigy, just someone with a decent grasp of music. Still, thanks to the system, she retained the original body's skills. That gave her confidence. Smiling politely, she replied, I can give it a try first, and if it sounds good, I'll do it. Mr. Wang opened the door, revealing a sleek grand piano gleaming softly under the classroom lights. Relax, he told her with an encouraging smile. Just play whatever you like. Xing Wan placed her hands on the keys, inhaled deeply, and began to play. The first notes spilled out like flowing water. Gentle, bright, and elegant, the melody filled the entire room, wrapping the air in warmth and grace. When the final chord faded, her fingers lingered on the keys, the silence afterward almost sacred. Mr. Wang clapped his hands in excitement. Brilliant! I knew it, Xiaonuan, you're incredible. 4 days later, the school anniversary performance arrived. Xing Wan sat before the mirror, earrings sparkling, her gown flowing like moonlight. The two girls behind her stared in shock. And people call Xing Mian the school beauty. That's hilarious, one of them said. You'll outshine everyone the moment you walk on stage. The other grabbed Xing Wan's hand, her tone half teasing, half worried. Still, playing the piano isn't about looks, you'll need real skill up there. Xing Wan smiled helplessly. Don't worry, Dad, I've got this. After a few more words of encouragement, the two girls left the dressing room. In the auditorium, Gu Lanfeng walked through the crowd as the host ran through the event script beside him. Then he froze. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Xing Wan step into the light, dressed in a dazzling gown, elegance radiating from her every movement. Behind him, 3 girls whispered among themselves. She's seriously going up there? Her piano skills are trash. It's going to be so embarrassing. Gu Lanfeng glanced sideways at the gossiping girls, a flicker of disdain flashing in his eyes. Pathetic. They have no idea who they're mocking. Suddenly, their chatter froze mid-sentence, that a shadow loomed over them. Xing Wan stood right there, arms crossed, her icy gaze slicing through the air. Feng Jiao, she began coolly, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Your double eyelid tapes practically touching your brows. When you're on stage, people might think a frog just joined the dance team. Her eyes shifted. And Zhao Lu, that dress is a disaster. That if that zipper pops mid-performance, congratulations, you'll go viral for all the wrong reasons. Then she turned to the last girl. Yi Fei, right? You think caking your face white and painting your lips red counts as makeup? Maybe fix that before criticizing others. Xing Wan gave them a polite, deadly smile. Honestly, you 3 look like a small-town performance troupe hired to open a pharmacy. Remarkable, really. The trio stood frozen, faces red with rage, so furious they could almost spit blood. Xing Wan smoothed her gown, turned gracefully, and strode away, her heels clicking like a melody of authority. The moment she left, the 3 fumed again. Who does she think she is? Just wait till she embarrasses herself on stage. Then stage lights flared. Xing Wan stepped up to the piano, her fingers brushing the keys. The first notes cascaded through the hall like crystal water, wrapping the crowd in a spell of light and sound. From the audience, Gu Lanfeng couldn't take his eyes off her. I've never seen her like this before. He suddenly remembered the moment she'd saved that student. The fearless look in her eyes. Somewhere deep inside, something in him shifted. His admiration for her was growing, quietly but surely. Not far away, Yi Nanxing sat silently among the crowd, his gaze fixed on Xing Wan. Her expression softened, a trace of melancholy lingering in her eyes as she played. Yi Nanxing's chest tightened. Is she sad too? For someone who grew up so loved and protected, he never thought she could look this lonely. The music came to an end. Xing Wan rose, bowed gracefully, and the audience erupted into thunderous applause. Backstage, she removed her earrings, her breathing steady but her heart still racing from the performance. Then came a slow, deliberate clap from behind. She turned. Shang Yu stood there, smiling faintly. I happened to record that day when you were framed, he said, holding up his phone casually. Want me to release it? Xing Wan narrowed her eyes. What are you after? Shang Yu tilted his head, lips curling. I'm helping you, of course, that I can clear your name, but in return you'll owe me a favor. What kind of favor? She asked warily. He chuckled, pocketing his phone as he leaned closer. Haven't decided yet. Let's just call it a rain check. But Xingwan only smiled faintly, her tone calm yet unyielding. I don't care if people misunderstand me, she said. And I won't pay an unknown price just to change someone else's opinion. Her words cut clean and sharp, leaving Shangyu momentarily silent. After a pause, he chuckled. Didn't expect that. You're smarter than you look. Xingwan brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. If that's all, I'll be going. Without another glance, she stepped into the dressing room. Watching her leave, Shangyu's smile deepened. Definitely not like the others, he thought, rubbing his chin before turning away with that same enigmatic grin. Meanwhile, at the film set, a young assistant peeked over at Xing Mian. Mianjia, what are you watching? You look totally captivated. Xing Mian replied with a soft laugh. I couldn't go to the school anniversary, so the teachers found someone to fill in last minute. I'm just curious how it went. Who could ever outshine you? One girl flattered quickly. No one plays the school goddess like you do. Another chimed in with a giggle, and Xing Mian smirked, pulling out her phone. Let's take a look together if Xingwan embarrassed herself on stage. While she asked for it. The three leaned in, only for their laughter to freeze midair. On the screen, Xingwan played the piano with breathtaking poise, each note weaving light through the whole. The two assistants exchanged wide-eyed glances. This level of performance, and she was worried? Xing Mian's expression darkened as she watched the video replay. No wonder everyone who mocked Xingwan suddenly went silent. Their faces must be stinging from how hard she slapped them with talent. She quickly locked her phone, her forced calm fooling no one. The two girls beside her shifted uncomfortably, turning away to hide their embarrassment. Xing Mian, you're up next, the director shouted across the set. She straightened her posture, taking a deep breath. It's fine. I'm on a professional set now. The best crew in the industry. Sitting down at the piano, she smiled confidently. Once this show airs, I'll be a household name. Xingwan's little moment of glory will fade soon enough. But just as her fingers pressed the keys, the memory of Xingwan's flawless performance flashed in her mind. Her grace, her poise, her power. A note went wrong. Then another. Her confidence cracked. Damn it. The director slammed his clipboard down. Cut. Off key again. Xing Mian, your composure is terrible. She stumbled up, bowing and apologizing, cheeks burning red. The director only sighed in frustration. Inside, Xing Mian seethed. Xingwan, you'll pay for this humiliation. I swear it. At that exact moment, somewhere across town, Xingwan sneezed out of nowhere. She rubbed her nose. Weird. Feels like someone's bad-mouthing me again. Walking down the quiet hospital corridor, she entered Yi Nanxing's ward. How's your mom? Is she doing okay after the surgery? Yi Nanxing turned toward her with a faint, genuine smile. The surgery went well. She's resting now. Thank you for coming so early. He hesitated, then added softly, if there's ever something you need me to do, just say the word. Truth was, Yi Nanxing still didn't buy Xingwan's story. In his mind, every kind gesture she made had strings attached. Wiping the corner of her eyes, Xingwan sniffled softly. We're dating now, aren't we? No need to be so distant. Yi Nanxing froze for a second. She actually seems hurt by the way I treat her. Then she suddenly smiled, that confident little smirk returning. Find out I know you don't like me, she said lightly. How about this? You be my boyfriend for 3 months, then we break up. Clean slate. No drama. Yi Nanxing hesitated, then nodded that he didn't know why. Maybe pity, maybe curiosity, but somehow her words felt reassuring. Xingwan stood, smoothing her skirt, her tone playful yet firm. Deal? And hey, if anything comes up, text me first, okay? With that, she turned and walked away, her heels echoing confidently down the hall. Yi Nanxing watched her go, frowning slightly. What is she really after? No way she actually likes me, right? Just as Xingwan stepped out of the hospital, her phone buzzed. It was a message from her mom. Sweetheart, come home early tomorrow. We're invited to an engagement banquet. Your father sent over a gown and some jewelry. Try them on when you get back. Xingwan stared at the text, a faint smile curving her lips. Even after the divorce, he still looks after us so carefully. For a fleeting moment, she felt a quiet warmth. Like maybe, just maybe, she really could rewrite everyone's fate this time. According to the system's intel, Leslie's downfall traced back to one fatal mistake. He chose the wrong allies. In his bid to secure control within the Norman family, he partnered with the eldest son of the Field family and pretended to support the illegitimate son, Shangyu. What Leslie never realized was that Shang Yu had already seen through the act.by the time he found out. The entire Field family had quietly fallen under the bastard's control. Caught between betrayal and revenge, Leslie was crushed from both sides, and ultimately met his tragic end. Walking down the marble staircase, Xingwan tapped the railing thoughtfully. How can I make Dad see that the real winner in this power game is Shang Yu? That night, she and her mother arrived at the grand banquet hall, only to run straight into the last people they wanted to see, her conniving Aunt Zhou Ru and her spoiled daughter. The venue glittered under crystal chandeliers. Champagne fizzed like liquid gold. Arm in arm, Xingwan and her mother Xing Lingshan entered the hall in stunning evening gowns that turned every head. As Xingwan scanned the room, her smile faded slightly. The stepsister and her mother were here too. What are they doing here? She whispered. Her mother replied softly, your uncle's old friend invited them. Since your uncle couldn't make it tonight, they came in his place. Xing Lingshan brushed a stray lock from her daughter's face and smiled softly. Mom's going to greet a few friends to go have some fun, sweetheart. Just don't wander too far. Xingwan nodded and turned away, only to bump straight into a firm chest. I'm so. Her words froze mid-sentence as she looked up. Gulanfeng. He cleared his throat awkwardly, steadying her by the shoulder. You okay? Wan stepped back, her tone cool and distant. I'm fine. With that, she turned on her heel. Across the room, Xing Mian spotted them and quickly made her way over, her polite smile perfectly in place. Wan, thank you for covering for me at the school event. You were amazing. Wan's lips curved into a half-smile. Here she goes again. Oh, don't mention it. Mr. Wang did say you practiced for weeks. Who knew I could just walk on stage and pull it off? Xing Mian froze, the smile on her face cracking ever so slightly. She bit her lip, gripping Wan's hand like a helpless saint. Wan, please. Let's stop holding grudges. I never blamed you. Can't we just let it go? The two girls standing behind Xing Mian exchanged a look, smirking. So this is your cousin, the one who likes to pretend she's some rich socialite? One said mockingly. Mixed blood, right? Funny, she doesn't look like it. Mixed from where exactly? The other added with a fake laugh. Well, at least her dress rental place did a great job. Careful not to spill anything on it. Repairs can get really expensive. Gu Lanfeng stood nearby, silent, his gaze flicking between them, unreadable. Xing Mian raised a hand delicately. All right, that's enough, she said softly, then turned toward Nuan with her usual graceful smile. Don't mind them, Nuan. They just mean well. Dresses like that are hard to replace if something happens. Nuan tilted her head, her smile razor sharp. Really? People still rent dresses these days? She let her eyes sweep over the three of them and added sweetly, oh wait, I get it now that you're the ones who rented yours, right? The three froze, smiles faltering, their laughter choking midair as the silence around them grew thick with embarrassment. The two women bristled, their voices rising. So what if we did rent ours? They're the latest collection, probably cost more than whatever knockoff you're wearing. Seriously, where'd you even find that? Some street market? Xing Mian quickly grabbed their arms, feigning concern. Enough. My cousin's family isn't as well off as ours. I'm sure she spent everything she had just to buy that dress. Don't make her feel worse. Wan's lips curved into a faint, icy smile, so calm it was almost chilling. Just then, a woman nearby set down her champagne glass, her gaze locking onto Nuan with elegant poise. She walked straight toward her. Ah, the woman said, eyes lighting up as she took in the gown. So you're the one wearing it. Xing Mian froze. Wait, that's Rose's protégé, the one who trained under the famous designer herself. The woman circled Nuan, admiration gleaming in her eyes. This gown was designed by Madame Rosa herself, part of her limited mother and daughter couture line. I recall her saying a gentleman had it specially delivered from overseas as a gift for his wife and daughter. I never expected to see it here, worn so beautifully. The designer's eyes sparkled with excitement as she clasped Nuan's hands. This craftsmanship, it's exquisite. Miss, may I beg a favor? After the gala, could you let me study this gown for just 2 days? In exchange, I'll design an exclusive dress for you, my personal work. Before Nuan could answer, a strong hand grabbed the designer by the arm, effortlessly lifting her back. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Lady Xing Lingshan hurried over. What's going on? The man bowed slightly. Someone offended Miss Norman. Nuan's tone softened instantly. It's fine. She meant no harm, you may stand down. The man gave a sharp bow and withdrew. A woman in a striking emerald gown rushed forward, pulling the terrified designer aside. "My apologies, Mrs. Sheng, Miss Sheng," she said quickly, glancing at Nguyen with clear anxiety. Then she whispered to the designer, "Don't you know who that is? She's Miss Sheng Nguyen of the Norman family." The designer froze, eyes wide, then covered her mouth in shock before bowing repeatedly, her voice trembling. Xing Mian stood rooted in place, disbelief flickering in her eyes. You're... But Nguyen cut her off coldly, her tone flat. "I'm tired, that I'll be resting." She turned and walked away, every step light, poised, and untouchable. Behind her, Xing Mian's two friends scoffed under their breath. "Seriously? Probably paid those people to act. She's so full of herself. Must think she's royalty or something." Xing Mian stood frozen, her confident smile fading. Could it be, Xing Wan really is a real heiress? The thought made her stomach twist. Just then Gu Lanfeng passed by. She quickly straightened up, her voice soft and sweet. "Long time no see, want to talk somewhere quieter?" Gu Lanfeng didn't even look at her. "Another time," he said coolly, walking past. Watching his back disappear into the crowd, Xing Mian's chest tightened. Why does it feel like he's changed toward me? The music cut abruptly. Guests turned as a line of bodyguards in black entered the ballroom, their formation neat, their expressions grim. Whispers spread like wildfire at what's going on. Back in her room, Xing Wan drew open the heavy curtains and stared out into the garden below. The lights of the banquet shimmered, but unease gnawed at her. Father never assigned this much protection before. Her gaze shifted to the guards stationed by the door. Something's wrong. Did father sense danger? Is that why he sent them, to protect me and mother? She sank into the sofa, exhaustion washing over her. For the first time she missed her old life. The modest apartment, the quiet evenings, the kind of safety no amount of luxury could buy. Being born into the Norman family, she murmured to herself, is like walking on the edge of a blade point. One wrong step and you vanish without even a trace left behind. Suddenly, crash. A knife stabbed straight through the window pane. Startled, Xing Wan shot to her feet. The window latch snapped and Shang Yu vaulted into the room. For a brief, frozen moment, their eyes met, her shock against his urgency. He rushed to yank the curtains shut, sealing out the streetlights. "Miss Norman," he whispered quickly, tucking the pistol out of sight. Then he looked up at her with that same pitiful, almost puppy-eyed expression, silently begging for help. Xing Wan sighed inwardly. Here we go again, his poor little fugitive act, take two. Just then the door burst open. The security guard stepped in, instantly taking in the scene. He drew his gun and aimed straight at Xing Wan. "Miss Norman, that man's from the Field family, he's dangerous. Please come over here now." Xing Wan's mind raced. Even if she did nothing, Shang Yu would probably find a way to survive. But if she helped him now, it might earn her a favor worth cashing in later. "Miss Norman, please," Shang Yu pleaded, voice trembling just enough to sound desperate. "If you don't help me, I'm done for." Xing Wan sighed quietly, then rose to her feet, stepping in front of him. "He's my friend," she said firmly. "I won't let you touch him." The guard hesitated. "Ma'am, helping him could cause serious trouble for you and for your employer." Xing Wan didn't budge. Her expression hardened, her stance unwavering. A silent declaration that she'd made her choice. The guard's jaw tightened. "Then you leave us no choice, Miss Norman. We'll have to use force." Just moments ago, Xing Wan had been calmly talking with the man. Now she was surrounded, security guards, guns raised, fingers on the trigger. Her voice cut through the tension like ice. "Get out." Without a hint of fear, she added, "I don't care what kind of feud you have with him, but tonight I'm saving him. You can tell my father if you want, he'll decide what comes next." The guards exchanged uneasy glances. After a tense beat, the lead guard finally lowered his weapon. "Understood, Miss Norman. I'll report this to Mr. Leslie." With that, they backed out of the room. As the door shut behind them, Xing Wan exhaled. Finally, a breath of relief. Shang Yu had only meant to tease her, maybe test her nerves. But now, he was staring at her in disbelief. He hadn't expected her to actually save him. Xing Wan was thinking about how to turn this situation to her best advantage. After all, according to the original script, Shang Yu was never the kind of guy who paid kindness back. Suddenly, Shang Yu leaned closer. Xing Wan looked up and saw that faint, dangerous smile tugging at his lips. "You've helped me twice now," he said softly. "Tell me, how should I thank you?" Xing Wan froze for a moment. After thinking it through, she replied flatly, "Don't thank me. Just don't hurt me or my family. That's thanks enough." Shang Yu arched a brow, saying nothing. He checked his watch and rose to his feet. "I'm leaving. See you next time." Without another word, he climbed straight out through the window. The next day, gossip spread all over campus. Everyone was talking about Xing Mian. Xing Wan listened in confusion. What on earth is going on now? Then her phone buzzed. A text popped up from an unknown number. "A small gift to show my gratitude." The moment she read it, she knew it was from Shang Yu. The video of Xing Mian trying to frame her had gone public. Xing Wan pocketed her phone, frowning. "So that's his idea of saying thank you?" Meanwhile, Xing Mian was still begging the director outside the studio for another chance. The director slammed the door shut without a word. Xing Mian pressed her face against the door, screaming, "No! It's not supposed to end like this." Her face twisted with hatred. It's all Xing Wan's fault. She ruined everything. Not long after, Xing Wan was called to the student affairs office. Jiu Lanfeng was there too. The director of discipline stood up, his expression complicated. Then he spoke solemnly, "Xing Wan, last time we misunderstood you. I owe you an apology." Before the director could even say anything, Gu Lanfeng spoke up. "I'm sorry. I owe you an apology too." Xing Wan didn't seem affected. She turned to the director calmly. "This isn't really a big deal to me. I can protect myself. But I do hope from now on teachers can treat every student fairly, without bias or favoritism." The director looked embarrassed and guilty. "You're right. I'll reflect on my actions seriously." Watching the composed girl standing there, Gu Lanfeng felt a faint stir in his chest. Something about her calm confidence hit him harder than he expected. The director ended the meeting and sent them back to class. But as soon as they left, he grabbed his phone, frowning. "Hello, is this Xing Mian's parent? She's still not at school. If she doesn't show up soon, we'll have to proceed with expulsion." On the way back, Gu Lanfeng called out to Xing Wan. When she turned around, his tone was sincere. "About that day, I'm sorry for pushing you. I really didn't mean to." Xing Wan glanced at him, her lips curving slightly. "Forget it. That was a long time ago." His eyes tightened. Then, "Does that mean you've forgiven me?" She stopped, looked back with a faint smile. "I said forget it." Then she walked away. Jiu Lanfeng stood frozen. Watching her back disappear down the hall, he understood. She wasn't angry anymore, but that didn't mean she forgave him. He suddenly remembered how she used to follow him everywhere, her eyes always bright whenever she looked at him. Somewhere along the line, those eyes had stopped shining for him. Jiu Lanfeng pressed his lips together, lost in thought. Xing Wan walked to the back door of Class 9 and saw Yi Nanxing quietly focused on his workbook, completely oblivious to the world around him. She tapped lightly on his desk. Yi Nanxing paused and looked up. A smiling face greeted him. Xing Wan teased, "So studious today, huh?" Sunlight streamed through the window, brushing across Xing Wan's face and outlining her smile with a soft golden glow. Yi Nanxing could actually hear his heartbeat pounding in his chest. She kept smiling at him, warm, effortless, and it made his pulse stumble all over the place. Xing Wan led Yi Nanxing to the stairwell and gently asked about his mother's condition. "She's doing much better," he said, thanking her politely. Though they were technically dating, they still talked to each other with an awkward, almost distant formality. Xing Wan didn't seem to mind. "I heard you gave up your spot in the provincial math competition," she said, tilting her head. Yi Nanxing blinked, surprised she knew about that. "Yeah. I didn't have the time. My mom just had surgery. She needs me around." Xing Wan immediately caught his meaning. "Then let me help," she said. "I'm terrible at taking care of people, but I do have money. I can hire a nurse. And if one's not enough, we can get 2, maybe 3. Yi Nanxing stared at her, momentarily speechless. Her logic didn't exactly follow a straight line. Xing Wan crossed her arms. "You know, if you win that competition, you could get a guaranteed university recommendation. With your grades, it's such a waste to give it up. And if your mom found out she was the reason you missed the chance, she'd feel awful." Yi Nanxing fell silent. He knew she was right. But his mom had just come out of surgery. How could he leave her alone? Xing Wan sighed and patted his shoulder. "You've got a bright future, Yi Nanxing. When you're strong enough, you won't need to make desperate deals with me just to save someone again, right?" He looked at her, straightforward, bold, and strangely genuine. She really means what she says, he thought. Of course, he knew she was right. Still, a trace of hesitation lingered. Could he really trust the same girl who once mocked and humiliated him? After a moment of silence, he finally nodded and said quietly, "Then, please, take care of my mom for me." When Yi Nanxing finally nodded, Xingwan let out a quiet sigh of relief. "I'll update you on your mom's condition every day," she promised. "Thanks," he murmured. She waved it off with a grin. "Hey, no problem. Just don't forget me when you're rich and famous." The lunch bell rang. Xingwan leaned lazily against a tree, debating what to eat. Nearby, two girls were gossiping excitedly about the new school bell rankings. Xingwan was still number 1, but Xingmian had fallen out of the top 10. Moments later, Xingmian came storming toward them, fury practically radiating off her. The three girls flinched instinctively. "You must be proud of yourself now," Xingmian shouted, pointing at Xingwan. "Got what you wanted, huh?" Xingwan gave her a cool half-smile, about to speak, but her 2-inch plastic sisters beat her to it. "Wow, Xingmian, what happened to that fake sweet face?" One of them mocked. "Yeah," the other chimed in. "Our Nwanwan might act rich, but you act human." Xingmian's face went pale with anger, words completely failing her as the duo kept sniping. Xingwan sighed inwardly. "Can't they roast people without dragging me into it?" She'd almost forgotten. Those two never had a filter. 10 days flew by. When the competition ended, Yi Nanxing walked out of the exam hall and saw the crowd of parents waiting outside. After 10 days of isolation training, even the noise felt comforting. Then he froze. Among the crowd, his mother sat in a wheelchair, Xingwan standing beside her holding an umbrella. Xingwan smiled. "The doctor said she should get some fresh air. Don't worry, she's doing great." Yiwan, his mother, nodded with a laugh. "It's true. These days I've been relying on Wanwan." Yi Nanxing blinked, emotions swelling in his chest. For the first time, someone was waiting for him after a test. Xingwan suddenly hooked her arm through his. "Come on, there's a celebration waiting at home." He blinked. A celebration?" "Of course," she said proudly. "It's an early celebration. I know you're going to win." Yiwan chuckled. She insisted. "I couldn't stop her. Onan, you'd better score high or you'll make her look bad." Xingwan winked. "Wait, you mean you didn't ace it?" Yi Nanxing's lips curved into a rare, confident smile. "Top 1 or nothing." When they reached home, Yi Nanxing opened the door, and nearly didn't recognize the place. Xingwan scratched her cheek, grinning. Things were kinda inconvenient for your mom, so I hired people to redo a few areas. Don't worry, everything's eco-friendly and move-in ready." Yi Nanxing sighed inwardly. Only a rich girl would see a minor inconvenience and respond by renovating the entire house. Xingwan nudged him playfully. "So, how does it feel dating a sugar mama?" He replied without thinking. Then realization hit, and his face turned crimson. Xingwan tilted her chin, triumphant. "Well, sweet deal, huh?" Yi Nanxing ignored her, cheeks still red, and muttered, "I'll go cook." Once Yi Nanxing left, Xingwan immediately called out to her system assistant. "Check Yi Nanxing's darkening value for me." The system replied in its usual flat tone. "Corruption level, 40%. Xingwan's eyes lit up. Perfect. The plot was moving exactly how she wanted. Later that evening, after Xingwan went home, Yi Nanxing poured his mother a glass of water. "Onan," Yuan asked softly, "that Miss Xing, she's helped us a lot this time, hasn't she?" He paused for a moment, then nodded. "Yeah. But why would she help us?" Yiwan continued, worry clouding her eyes. She feared her son might lose his way out of guilt or obligation. Why? Yi Nanxing replied honestly. "She asked me to be her boyfriend." Yiwan blinked, then let out a small sigh of relief. "She seems like a good girl," she said gently. "But her family isn't like ours. No matter the reason she helped us, we should remember this favor and repay it someday." Yi Nanxing murmured again. After a long silence, Yiwan added, "You're still young. It's easy to get swept away. She's beautiful. Any boy would like her, but she's from a different world. Promise me you'll be careful, Onan." Yi Nanxing looked up with a faint, helpless smile. "I know, Mom." He understood more than anyone. The next morning, Gu Lanfeng sat at his desk, earphones in, quietly reading. A sandwich suddenly appeared in front of him. Xingmian sat down opposite him. "My mom made this for you," she said cheerfully. "She wanted me to bring it over." Gu Lanfeng pushed it back without hesitation. "No need. I already had breakfast." Xingmian pouted. I already brought it. Just keep it, eat later if you're not hungry. He sighed, picked up the sandwich and placed it back in her hands. Thanks, he said evenly. But don't bring me food again. The words hit her like a bucket of ice water. The classmates nearby started whispering. Xing Mian bit her lip, tears stinging her eyes. Whatever, she muttered before running off, humiliated. Gu Lanfeng didn't even look up. Meanwhile, across the room, Xing Wan was happily munching on food. This is amazing, she said between bites. Your mom's cooking is top tier. Yi Nanxing chuckled at her excitement. She puffed out her cheeks, still chewing. Seriously, it's so good. Yi Nanxing looked at her, thinking, when did she become this cute? Like a tiny hamster nibbling on food. Downstairs, Xing Mian froze mid-step. She looked up and saw the two of them laughing together. Jealousy and resentment twisted in her eyes like dark smoke. After finishing the meal, Xing Wan asked Yi Nanxing to thank his mother on her behalf. She waved goodbye and left, unaware that in the distance Xing Mian was watching, seething with resentment. The jealousy boiling inside Xing Mian had reached its breaking point, rejected by the campus heartthrob just yesterday, and now watching her own sister smiling beside the school's cold, untouchable genius. Her pride snapped. A dark idea began to take shape in her mind. Once Xing Wan was gone, Yi Nanxing picked up his lunchbox to leave, but Xing Mian stepped out from behind a pillar. He frowned slightly, intending to walk away, but she blocked his path. Well, she sneered. Getting pretty close to Xing Wan, huh? You two friends now? Yi Nanxing's voice was cold. That's none of your business. Oh, isn't it? Xing Mian smirked. I heard your mom's surgery was paid for by her. You really think she's doing that out of kindness? Yi Nanxing said nothing. Xing Mian took out her phone, her lips curling. Here, listen to this. Then decide if she's still your friend. Yi Nanxing unlocked his phone and played the voice message she sent. A girl's mocking tone filled the air. Yi Nanxing lives like a stray dog. He doesn't even deserve to be compared to Gu Lanfeng. Another voice joined in, followed by laughter. I cut off all his part-time gigs. Now he's broke, he'll do whatever I say. Help him. Please. I'm just toying with him. It's funny, don't you think? Every word dripped with disdain. The voice belonged unmistakably to Xing Wan. As the audio ended, Yi Nanxing's eyes went cold. Xing Mian's smile widened. See? That's who she really is. She's just setting you up again. Her tone sharpened with malice. You don't seriously think she's being nice, do you? Yi Nanxing lifted his gaze slowly. Xing Mian leaned closer, whispering, Don't forget, she used to humiliate you. Meanwhile, Xing Wan burst through her front door, panic written all over her face. She froze when she saw her mother, Xing Lingshan, her arm wrapped tightly in bandages. Mom, what happened? She cried. One of the guards spoke first. There was a traitor in the staff, Miss Sheng. But don't worry, the matter's been dealt with. Xing Lingshan, pale and weak, held her daughter's hand. Monwon, I have to return overseas. Leslie's helicopter crashed. She's still unconscious. She gently touched her daughter's cheek. Leslie left all her assets to me. Your uncle's already making his move for the inheritance. For your safety, I have to go back. Xing Wan's mind raced. If Leslie's truly lost, Mom's return will be suicide. She forced herself to stay calm. Do you really have to go? She asked quietly. Xing Lingshan nodded. It's the only way to keep you safe. And Leslie needs someone to look after her. Xing Wan understood. It wasn't just responsibility. It was love. She took a deep breath. Then go, Mom. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. Xing Lingshan smiled faintly and pulled her into a tight embrace. Don't be afraid, Wanwan. I'll come back for you. Then, surrounded by her bodyguards, she turned and left, her figure fading into the morning light. After watching her mother leave, Xing Wan slowly steadied herself. She turned to the guard beside her. You should go too, she said calmly. Stay hidden and do everything you can from the shadows. The guard hesitated. But my duty is to protect you, Miss Sheng. Xing Wan's gaze sharpened. That's an order. The man fell silent, then pulled a handgun from inside his jacket and handed it to her. Bowing slightly, he said solemnly, Please, take care of yourself. Xing Wan watched him leave. When the door closed, she turned the lock. The room fell silent, the air heavy with tension. Leaning against the door, she sighed. Leslie's life or death should have nothing to do with her. And yet she couldn't ignore it. No one had ever been that kind to her before. Still, uncertainty gnawed at her. Can Leslie really survive this? she wondered, helplessly sinking down against the door. Suddenly, knock knock knock. Wormy, it's me, your aunt. The syrupy voice outside made Xingwan frown. Why is she here? She opened the door just enough to see the woman standing there. Her tone was flat. What is it? Your mom's not home. Aunt Zhou asked sweetly, her eyes darting past Xingwan's shoulder, scanning the house with thinly veiled greed. She's on a business trip, Xingwan replied coldly. The woman's expression flickered. So she really left. Probably went abroad, she guessed. Putting on a fake smile, Aunt Zhou clucked her tongue. Oh, Nwanwan, you don't have to hide things from me. That if something's wrong you can tell your aunt. Your mom's not here, so I'm your guardian now. She tried to push the door open while speaking. Don't keep me standing outside, child. Let me in. Xingwan didn't move. Her face was expressionless, her gaze sharp and cold enough to freeze the air. In the original storyline, that woman had used the excuse of checking in and showing concern to sneak inside. And while the original Xingwan panicked, she quietly stole the jewelry box from Xing Lingshan's room. Those jewels were everything her mother had left her, her only inheritance. But this time Xingwan didn't hesitate. Her voice was cold and sharp. If you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police. She slammed the door shut before the woman could respond. Outside, Aunt Zhou cursed under her breath and stormed off. Once she confirmed the coast was clear, Xingwan turned back into the house. She immediately began gathering all the valuables, every piece of jewelry, every gemstone, and stuffed them into a backpack. I'll rent a safety deposit box. She thought that if Leslie doesn't survive this crisis, at least I'll have something left to live on. Hours later, she finally stepped out of the bank, only for her system to chime a cold warning in her mind. Frowny face alert. Home security triggered. Door lock was forced open 10 minutes ago. Good thing she had trusted her instincts and checked into a hotel. Sitting on the bed, she took a deep breath. This can't go on forever. That if someone's targeting me, they'll try again. Then a thought struck her. Gu Lanfeng, that he, like Xing Mian, was one of this world's protagonists, blessed by fate itself. That if she stayed close to him, maybe she'd be safe. And lately he'd been texting her, asking her out, trying to get closer. She smirked. Looks like the golden boy's got a bit of a crush. Fine, she decided. Meeting him won't kill me, and if it keeps me alive, I'll swallow my pride and deal with it. After getting Xingwan's reply, Gu Lanfeng showed up at the school gate early, scanning the crowd eagerly. Then he saw her, walking toward him unhurriedly, her expression calm, the sunlight glinting off her hair. Xingwan stopped a few feet away. What did you want to talk about? She asked flatly. Gu Lanfeng smiled. There's a coming-of-age dance next week that I wanted to invite you to be my date. I'm not even 18 yet, she said. Not interested. He grinned, voice dripping with false charm. Right, you're younger than me by about a year. Guess that means you should call me Gidge, big brother. Xingwan stared at him in silence, then deadpanned, you're disgusting. Gu Lanfeng coughed awkwardly, waving a hand. Okay, my bad. What I meant was, will you be my dance partner? He gave her that same greasy smile again. So, is that a yes? Xingwan sized him up, her mind weighing options. Do I really have to stick around this guy just to stay alive? But then she looked at his smug, self-satisfied face. Yeah, know that I'd rather hide in a sewer than deal with this human oil slick every day. That he shook her head. Sorry, not interested. She turned to leave, but Gu Lanfeng caught her wrist. Unfortunately, at that exact moment, Yi Nanxing happened to walk by, and saw everything. From his angle, it looked like the two were struggling. Xingwan yanked her hand free. I said I'm not interested, are you done yet? Gu Lanfeng froze for a second, then forced a helpless smile. Funny, he said, because last time on the track field you stopped me. You said you had something to tell me. Xingwan blinked. Huh? What thing? Before she could think, Yi Nanxing was already striding toward them, his face unreadable but his eyes cold. Then her system chimed in her mind. Frowny face alert. Yi Nanxing corruption level, 50%. Xingwan froze. She turned and caught sight of that familiar back disappearing down the corridor. Without another thought, she spun on her heel and ran after him, leaving Gu Lanfeng standing there, stunned and speechless. Gu Lanfeng watched as Xingwan ran straight past him toward Yi Nanxing. The smile on his face slowly faded. It was the first time he'd ever taken the initiative with a girl, and yet she brushed him off without hesitation, only to chase after a poor scholarship kid. A dull, bitter weight settled in his chest. Xing Wan caught up to Yi Nanxing, slightly out of breath. Hey, I'm calling you, why didn't you wait for me? She tried to sound casual. What's wrong with you? But he didn't even glance at her. His silence was colder than rejection. She frowned. Right, Yi Nanxing's supposed to be the main villain of this world. Tough as nails, hard to kill. Maybe sticking close to him isn't such a bad survival plan. Taking a deep breath, she tested the waters. Can I stay at your place for a while? Yi Nanxing stopped in his tracks. He turned around slowly, eyes like frozen glass. Stay at my place. Do we even know each other that well? His tone was cold, laced with mockery. Or what? He added. You just want a front row seat to see how pathetic I am? Xing Wan blinked, genuinely confused. What are you talking about? Yi Nanxing gave a humorless laugh and pulled out his phone. He hit play. Her own voice, sharp, arrogant, cruel, came spilling out of the speaker. Every word was venom, every sentence a slap. Xing Wan froze, her mind blank. Yi Nanxing listened to the recording again, the sneering tone echoing in his ears. Then he thought of the scene he'd just witnessed, her with Gu Lanfeng, and the anger curdled into disgust. So that's all it ever was, he thought bitterly. A game, a lie. He looked down at her bowed head and scoffed. What? Nothing to say now? Xing Wan stayed silent. Those were the words of the original her. A mess she could never undo. His lip curled. Guess I'll save you the trouble then, you won't get to toy with me again. He turned and walked away without looking back. The late afternoon light fell across her face as she stood there, motionless, and for the first time her chest ached in a way she couldn't explain. Yi Nanxing stopped mid-step. He had unknowingly walked past the bar where he used to work part-time. The same spot where that girl once stepped in front of him, shielding him without hesitation. A bitter smile tugged at his lips. What a fool I've been. To her, it was all just a game. To him, it had meant something real. Ahead, laughter drifted from the street corner. Xing Mian and two girls were gossiping loudly. Serve Xing Wan right. She used to act so high and mighty. Now look at her, no one even cares. Exactly. I bet her mom ditched her already. The words hit Yi Nanxing like a slap. Her mom left her. Did something happen to her? He clenched his jaw. No, what do I care? Whatever happens to her, it's none of my business. He forced himself to keep walking, but after a few steps he froze again. A faint ache stirred in his chest. She helped me once, he sighed under his breath. Fine, I'll consider this paying her back. Without another thought, he spun around and ran toward the school gate. But by the time he got there, she was gone. He rushed to the curb, waving for a taxi. To Xing Wan's neighborhood. Hurry, he said the moment he got in. The driver glanced at him, startled by the urgency, then hit the gas. The driver chuckled. Girlfriend trouble, huh? You two must be fated. I was the one who drove her last time too. She just went home in my cab. Funny thing, I dropped her off, turned around and picked you up. Wait, drove her last time? Yi Nanxing asked, confused. Yeah, the driver laughed. Not long ago. You looked totally out of it, kid. The girl said someone drugged you. She even said you, kissed her. He clicked his tongue. Man, you young people are something else. Yi Nanxing blinked, stunned. Are you sure it was her? Of course, the driver said, laughing. How could I mistake a face like that? Beautiful girl, kinda mixed, hard to forget. Yi Nanxing sat there, frozen, his mind spinning. No wonder Xing Mian never replied to my messages that night. Because the one who saved me was Xing Wan. Yi Nanxing's heart started pounding. If it really was her that night, then why didn't she say anything? He had been barely conscious. If she'd only wanted to humiliate him, she could have walked away. So why did she help me? His fingers brushed against his lips. The blurred memories from that night flashed through his mind. So, the person I kissed was Xing Wan? He whispered, stunned. Lost in thought, he didn't even realize the car had stopped until the driver spoke. He paid mechanically and stepped out, still dazed, only to hear a familiar voice behind him. Yi Nanxing? He turned, and there she was. Xing Wan had just stepped out of the convenience store near her complex. After checking the security footage from last night, she hadn't found anything useful. And suddenly she was face to face with him. Yi Nanxing started walking toward her, fast. Xing Wan's heart jumped. Didn't he storm off earlier? Is he back to settle the score? She instinctively backed away a few steps. His voice came low and steady. Was it you who took me to the hospital that night? Her eyes widened. Crap, how does he know that? Wait, Does he also know I slapped him? Realizing lying was pointless, she hesitated, then muttered, "You bit me first, and I only hit you because of that." His pulse thudded, so it really was her that he stared at her, silent. Xingwan fidgeted under his gaze. Why isn't he saying anything? He's not plotting revenge, is he? She hurriedly explained, "Those mean things I said before. Okay, yes, that was stupid, I admit it. But you can't just give me the death penalty for being an idiot once, right? That's not fair." Yi Nanxing's eyes softened, but his voice was still serious. "What about what you told me at the hospital? Was that real too?" "Of course it was," she said instantly. "I meant every word. I really wanted to help you." Then she even raised a hand dramatically. "I swear if I'm lying, even just half a sentence, may I gain 10 pounds every year and grow wrinkles all over my face." Xingwan lowered her head, her tone softer now. "For me, that's already the deadliest curse I could swear. If you still don't believe me, then—" "I believe you," Yi Nanxing interrupted suddenly. She blinked, surprised. "Wait, that actually worked?" Grinning from ear to ear, she stepped closer. "Yi Nanxing, you're so nice," she teased. "You know, I think I'm starting to like you more and more." The words hit him like lightning. His ears instantly turned red. He turned away, trying to sound composed. "Can you be serious for once?" Xingwan only leaned closer, brushing her fingers against his cheek. "I am serious," she said earnestly. That was straight from the heart. Her tone was so genuine it was impossible to tell whether she was teasing or not. Yi Nanxing avoided her gaze, muttering, "Then why did you say you wanted to stay at my place today?" She froze for a second, then laughed awkwardly. "My mom's on a business trip. I'm home alone and kinda scared that I just said that casually, okay? Don't take it so seriously." He glanced at the nearby residential buildings and said quietly, "Then, wanna come over for dinner instead?" Xingwan's eyes sparkled. "Really? Sure. I'd love to." After dinner, Yi Nanxing walked her outside. As he waved down a cab, he said, "If you really don't feel safe, you can stay at my place tonight." But Xingwan, remembering the system's message confirming her home was secure, shook her head quickly. "No need. That was just a joke." Yi Nanxing fell silent. When the cab arrived, he said quietly, "Text me when you get home." Xingwan smiled, waved, and hopped inside. "Got it." He stood by the curb, watching the taillights disappear into the distance. Inside the cab, Xingwan leaned against the window, relaxed and content, unaware that the car she had just gotten into was a stolen one. Suddenly, Xingwan's system chimed in her ear, "Frowny face alert. Suspicious individuals detected outside your home." Her scalp tingled instantly. "Great. Just great." She was about to tell the driver, "Turn toward the police station." But then another cold notification followed. "Frowny face, additional notice. The current driver appears to be affiliated with the suspects." Her blood ran cold. "Are you kidding me?" she hissed. "Why didn't you say that earlier?" The system replied blandly, "Frowny face data coverage limited. Real-time warning unavailable." "Useless hunk of code," she snapped, slamming a hand against the seat. But now wasn't the time to argue. She had to think fast. She glanced out the window. They were passing through a busy downtown area, neon lights flashing, a roasted chestnut stall by the curb, crowds everywhere. Perfect. Keeping her voice calm, she smiled at the driver. "Sir, could you pull over for a second? I want to grab some roasted chestnuts." The driver's eyes flickered with irritation, but with so many people around, he couldn't refuse. "Sure," he said gruffly, easing the car to the side. Xingwan opened the door, stepping out gracefully. Her expression was calm, her steps unhurried. Just an ordinary girl out for a midnight snack. Then, in the next heartbeat, she bolted. "Shit," the driver cursed, fumbling for his phone. "She's running. Target's escaping." Within moments, a few men appeared from the street corner, chasing after her. But Xingwan zigzagged through the crowd, blending into the bustle, making it hard for them to keep up. "Think, Xingwan, think," she told herself as she ran. "You can't just keep running forever." Then a calm voice came from ahead. "Looks like you're in trouble." She stopped short and looked up. It was Shang Yu standing beneath the streetlight, his expression unreadable but amused. "Need a hand?" he said lightly. "Consider it payback for last time." Xingwan hesitated for a heartbeat, then nodded. "Okay." Shang Yu turned and started walking, not looking back. "Then follow me," he said. His tone was calm but commanding, and somehow she felt safe for the first time that night. Shang Yu pulled her into his car. Just as the pursuers turned the corner, his expression hardened. Hold on. He slammed the accelerator and the car shot forward like a bullet. Behind them, the gangsters could only watch the taillights fade into the distance. Minutes later, they arrived at a secluded villa on the outskirts of the city. Shang Yu unbuckled his seatbelt and smiled. I don't come here often, but you can stay. It's a lot safer than anywhere else right now. He walked to the fridge, grabbed 2 drinks and asked casually, so who were those guys chasing you? Xing Wan gave him a knowing look. You're really gonna pretend you don't know? He chuckled, giving up the act. Alright, find out. I know that Leslie's in a coma, your mother Xing Lingshan has gone back overseas. But I still don't get why your Uncle Steven's coming after you. Xing Wan leaned back on the couch, her tone calm. That just means Steven's in trouble himself. Shang Yu's gaze softened, an admiring glint in his eyes. Leslie listened to your warning, he said slowly. He planned ahead, set traps, hid assets. Now Steven's stuck cleaning up the mess, so he's turning on you, hoping to find leverage here in China. Shang Yu smiled faintly. I'll help where I can. But if his men come knocking, I won't fight them head-on for your sake. That I don't do favors that don't pay off. Xing Wan smirked. Or maybe it's because you've got your own problems to deal with? His smile faltered that she'd hit the mark. His idiot brother had been spiraling ever since Leslie's fall, and between cleaning up that mess and keeping his own schemes afloat, he barely had time to breathe. A cold light flickered in his eyes, but soon he'd end all of this himself. He straightened, his tone soft again as he handed her the drink. I should go. Get some rest, Xing Wan, sweet dreams. Xing Wan took the can and watched him walk away, his figure fading into the dim hallway light. A week later, Xing Wan stood once again at Yi Nanxing's front door. Hoodie up, mask on, cap pulled low. She looked more like a spy than a dinner guest. Pulling off her mask and hat, she took a deep breath that if I stayed cooped up one more day I'd lose my mind. She glanced at the house and smiled at a whole week of hiding, living off takeout. Tonight, real food at last. Why Yi Nanxing had invited her over for dinner, and for some reason that made her oddly happy. She knocked gently on the door. After a moment it opened. The house was dark, no lights on. Standing in the doorway were Yi Nanxing and his mother. Yi Wan. On the table behind them glowed a small cake covered in candles. Xing Wan froze. Right, today was the original Xing Wan's birthday. Yi Wan chuckled, nudging her son's arm. Well, don't just stand there, sing. Under the soft light of the candles, the two began clapping and singing happy birthday. Xing Wan stood there stunned, her chest tightened. No one's ever done this for me before. The lights flicked on with a soft click. She blinked, still dazed, unable to move. Yi Wan took her hand warmly. Wan, Anan told me your mom's away and you've been alone. So Auntie thought, maybe we could celebrate together. Don't mind my nosiness, alright? Xing Wan's lips curved in a bright smile. No, I'm really happy, thank you, Auntie. Yi Nanxing, looking a little awkward, stepped forward with a single rose. Happy birthday. Xing Wan took it, teasing. Just one, you're kinda stingy. He muttered, a bit embarrassed. It's the only one left in the yard. She laughed. What, you picked it off the street? Still smiling, she held the rose close and whispered, thanks. They sat together as Yi Nanxing sliced the cake and handed her a piece. Xing Wan took a bite, the sweetness melting across her tongue. It wasn't fancy, but it felt warm. Watching the two of them laugh in the gentle light, she realized it might be the simplest birthday she'd ever had, but it was also the first one that truly felt like hers. After dinner, Yi Nanxing walked Xing Wan home. On the way back, he stopped by a street stall and bought a few pears, his mother's favorite fruit. But when he opened the door, the bag slipped from his hand. Mom, he shouted, the pears scattered across the floor, rolling away. Yi Wan sat slumped in her wheelchair, her head tilted to the side, blood trickling steadily from her nose. For a moment, Yi Nanxing forgot how to breathe. Later that night, in the locker room of an underground fight club, he sat alone, fists clenched, the doctor's words echoing in his head. Your mother suffered a second hemorrhage, the doctor had said, resting a heavy hand on his shoulder. She's developed an intracranial infection that we can operate again, but the risk is high and the cost, enormous. Even if she survives, recovery will be poor. But if we don't operate, she won't last long. Think carefully, Yi Nanxing. He remembered his mother's smile, how she'd taken him in as a child, raised him alone, never remarried, never once giving up on him. And now, how could he give up on her? resolve burned in his eyes. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Someone entered the locker room. The man tossed a heavy duffel bag at his feet. "Cloud Master says," the man said between drags of his cigarette, "you finish tonight's match clean and you get 30 grand. Smoke curled through the air as Yi Nanqing stared at the bag. It wasn't just money. It was a lifeline, his mother's last chance. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Xingwan, bored out of her mind, asked her AI assistant, "Hey, what's Yi Nanqing doing right now?" The system's tone was neutral, almost mechanical. Frowny face. Subject: Yi Nanqing is participating in an underground fight rigged by a gambling syndicate. He was caught throwing the match and is currently being detained by the fight organizers. Xingwan froze. Her face went pale. In a place like that, she thought, if they caught him cheating, he's as good as dead. Xingwan hesitated. Should she risk it? This wasn't her fight. Even if something happened to Yi Nanqing, it wouldn't come back to her. They got along fine now. That he wouldn't hurt her later. So why the hell get involved? But then, she remembered that night. The cake, the candles, his mother's gentle smile as they sang for her. Her jaw clenched. "Damn it," she muttered. "I really can't just sit here, can I?" She yanked open a drawer and pulled out the pistol her bodyguard had left her. Throwing on a trench coat, she slipped the gun into her sleeve. "If I die, I die," she thought grimly, then stepped out the door. Meanwhile, Yi Nanqing hung by his wrists, chains cutting into his skin. His knees pressed to the concrete, blood dripping from his shoulders. Someone splashed cold water over him. He gasped awake. A man with a cigar strolled over, smoke curling in the dim light. "Well, kid," he drawled, "you used to work for me, so I'll be generous tonight. You can keep one finger." He took a slow drag, eyes narrowing. "Don't worry, I'm not taking it for free. 1 finger's worth. 50,000. Perfect. That'll even out what you stole from me." He flicked his ashes and a bodyguard stepped forward, blade glinting under the light. The man raised the knife high, ready to strike. Then chaos broke the silence. Someone rushed in shouting, "Boss Zhao! Someone's here to buy him out." Yi Nanqing. Yi Nanqing froze, breath catching in his throat. No way. Slowly he lifted his head, and saw her. Xingwan in a trench coat and short skirt, calm and radiant even under the filthy lights. She was being escorted in by a few of Zhao's men. His chest tightened. She actually came for me." Xingwan's gaze swept over him. Bruised, bloodied, barely standing, her brows furrowed, but her voice stayed cool. Turning to Zhao, she smiled politely. "Mr. Zhao," she said, her tone smooth but firm, "I heard Yi Nanqing caused some trouble here. I came to apologize and to take him home." Boss Zhao leaned back on the couch, a lazy grin tugging at his lips. Well, a little girl like you thinks she can talk to me like that?" His tone was calm but heavy with threat. Before Xingwan could answer, the bodyguard behind her kicked hard. Thud. She hit the floor, the breath knocked from her chest. "Don't touch her." Yi Nanqing roared, thrashing against the chains until they rattled violently. Xingwan pushed herself up, eyes blazing. "You bastard," she spat, her voice low and shaking with anger. Then, without warning, she drew out a flash of steel. A soft click, the gun was already loaded, her aim steady and unflinching. Bang. The shot echoed through the room. The same thug screamed, collapsing as blood gushed from his thigh. Perfectly aimed, not fatal, just enough to make a point. Boss Zhao's face darkened, that he had seen it clearly. Her draw, her precision, her composure, this girl's trained. Instantly, his men drew their weapons, the metallic clicks filling the room. The air thickened with tension and gunpowder. But Xingwan didn't flinch. She stepped forward, placing herself between Yi Nanqing and the guns. Yi Nanqing stared in disbelief. The girl in front of him, cold-eyed, fearless, was nothing like the teasing, soft-spoken Xingwan he knew. Xingwan smiled faintly, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Boss Zhao, your men aren't exactly polite, are they?" Zhao's eyes narrowed, his tone chilled. "Quite the temper you've got, little miss." Xingwan gave a short, sharp laugh. "Temper? Please don't twist this, old man. Oh, you were the first to throw a kick. I came here to talk business. To buy someone's freedom. Didn't expect the welcome party to start with a boot to my ribs." Boss Zhao's grin faded, his brow furrowed, tone cautious now. "So you're just here to buy him out?" Xingwan lowered her gun. Calmly, she reached into her bag and tossed 2 fat stacks of cash onto the floor with a thud. "Your man kicked me," she said coldly. "I shot him. Yi Nanqing broke your rules. You beat him. Now I'm paying the bill. We're square. Deal?" Boss Xiao studied her in silence. Then unexpectedly he laughed. You've got guts, girl, that I like that. Maybe we could be friends. Xing Wan scoffed. You're not qualified, just let him go. The room went still. Xiao's smile froze. For the first time he looked embarrassed. Xing Wan's tone turned icy. I don't want trouble. And you shouldn't either. Stick to your own turf, Boss Xiao. Don't mess with people you don't understand. Xiao exhaled a long breath through his nose, then waved a hand. Cut him down. One of the men stepped forward, slicing through the chains with a clatter. Xing Wan rushed over, catching Yi Nanxing before he collapsed. Come on, she said quietly. We'll talk later. Together they pushed through the crowd and disappeared into the night. After they were gone, one of Xiao's men frowned. Boss? We're just letting her walk out? Xiao lit a cigarette, his voice low and calm. You don't survive this business without knowing who not to cross. The man blinked. But she's just a girl. Xiao cut him off. Just a girl? She drew a gun and fired without blinking. You ever see a girl like that before? The room fell silent. Smoke curled around Zhao's face as he muttered. That wasn't her first time pulling the trigger. Xing Wan brought Yi Nanxing to the hospital. After the nurse finished bandaging him up, the two sat outside on a cold bench. The night air smelled faintly of disinfectant. Xing Wan let out a long breath and forced a smile. How are you feeling? Anything still hurt? Yi Nanxing shook his head. I'm fine. What about you? Your back still hurts? She tried to play it off, but the moment she moved, pain shot up her spine. Clenching her fists, she grumbled through her teeth. Should have shot him twice. Letting him keep one leg was charity. Yi Nanxing glanced at her quietly. Aren't you afraid? He asked. Xing Wan blinked, then grinned, thumping her chest. I've got a gun. What's there to be afraid of? They had guns too, he muttered. Yeah, she shot back. But they wouldn't dare pull the trigger. I would. That shut him up. Her tone softened, her eyes steady on him. What were you thinking, huh? Why didn't you tell me what was going on? You really think your life's that cheap? Yi Nanxing lowered his head. My life? Worth anything? Xing Wan's expression faltered. She reached out and pinched his cheek, forcing a smile. Of course it's worth something. To me, it's priceless. Then a mischievous thought popped into her head. If I made him sign a lifetime contract now, all his future money would technically be mine. She almost snorted aloud. Tilting his chin up with a finger, she teased, What's wrong? Don't trust me? Or are you saying, you don't want any ties to me? Yi Nanxing's ears turned red. That's not it, he muttered. The moment hung in the air, quiet and strangely warm. After a pause he asked, Did something happen to your family? I went to your place. It was empty. You're not sick, but you've been on sick leave this whole time. Xing Wan waved a hand dismissively, eyes flickering. It's nothing. Doesn't concern you. Don't worry, I've still got plenty of money. Xing Wan told Yi Nanxing to wait by the hospital gate while she went to get the money. Walking down the street, she thought to herself, good thing I pulled those necklaces out earlier. The surgery wouldn't cost much, 10, maybe 20,000. Selling just one necklace should cover it. A little later, she stepped out of the jewelry shop, clutching her purse. The golden hour light hit her face as she sighed. Figures, she muttered. Second-hand stuff's never worth what you paid. Lost a few grand just like that. She smiled wryly, but it'll be enough for the surgery. Just as she turned to leave, she froze at why Yi Nanxing was standing right there. Caught off guard, she blurted, I told you to wait over there. What are you doing here? He looked down, his voice barely above a whisper. So this is what you meant by I have money? Xing Wan forced a laugh. Jewelry's money too, isn't it? Actually, it's worth more than money. She pushed the bag into his hands. Here, take it, pay for the surgery. Yi Nanxing didn't move. Then suddenly he pulled her into his arms, tight, desperate, like he was afraid she'd disappear. Xing Wan froze, eyes wide. Thinking he was just feeling guilty, she patted his back lightly. Hey, relax. It's fine, she said with a crooked grin. I've got plenty more where that came from. But instead of letting go, he held her tighter. His arms trembled slightly, his breath shaky against her shoulder. He finally managed to whisper, Thank you. When Xing Wan unlocked the door to Shangyu's villa, she froze. He was there. Blood streaked down his arm as he tightened a bandage. What happened to you? She blurted. Shangyu buttoned his shirt without looking at her. You shouldn't stay here tonight, he said flatly. This place isn't safe. Then her digital assistant chimed in frowny face alert. Shang Yu's brother has dispatched assassins. Estimated arrival, 30 minutes. Xing Wan's eyes widened. Damn it, you could have mentioned that earlier. She pressed a hand to her chin, pacing, stay and die. Leave and die faster. Either way the odds sucked. Then suddenly her eyes lit up. Wait, there is one way. She waved Shang Yu over. Come here. Listen to me. She whispered her plan, quick and confident. He stared for a beat, then chuckled. So your grand strategy is basically, if death's an option, choose the loudest version? Xing Wan folded her arms, smirking. It's called decisive execution. No risk, no reward. He actually laughed. You're insane. Finally, he nodded. Fine. We'll do it your way, but if things go south, I might not come back for you. She rolled her eyes and started up the stairs. Didn't ask you to. Under her breath, let's just hope we both live, huh? Midnight fell. The villa was surrounded. Dozens of armed men in black moved like shadows, scaling the walls, silent as smoke. Xing Wan heard the faint scrape of boots on glass. Her whole body tensed. They're here. The door creaked open. A man in black stepped in, his tone cold, polite, lethal. Miss Norman, he said. Mr. Stephen requests you return home. Xing Wan's expression shifted instantly. She feigned panic. Uncle Stephen wouldn't hurt me, right? He used to hold me when I was little. The man's eyes were like stone. Mr. Stephen has no wish to harm you. Comply and nothing will happen. Xing Wan crouched on the edge of the bed, playing the terrified damsel perfectly. I want to speak to Uncle Stephen, she said, her voice trembling. The lead assassin replied coolly. Mr. Stephen is occupied. You'll come with us now. His tone dripped with impatience. Then her earpiece buzzed. Update. Shang Yu's men have reached the perimeter. Her panic vanished, replaced by razor focus. She looked up, voice suddenly calm and firm. And if I refuse? The assassin's smirk vanished as he pulled out his gun, aiming squarely at her. Then I'm afraid I'll have to use persuasion. But before he could move, bang, gunfire erupted outside. The assassin turned, confused. What the hell? Bang. A single shot silenced him. He collapsed, blood spreading beneath his head. Xing Wan stood over him, pistol smoking, a cold smile on her lips. You really thought I was just stalling? The villa exploded into chaos. Bullets screamed through the air, glass shattered, and shouts echoed across the hallway. Xing Wan hit the floor, crawling fast, slipping into the next room unseen. She dove under a heavy wooden desk, heart pounding in her chest. Just survive tonight, she thought. After this, they'll never dare touch me again. The door burst open with a crash. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, entered the room. Sorry, boss, a man's voice drawled. I didn't want to betray you, but your brother's offer was just too good. He raised his gun toward Shang Yu. Beneath the desk, Xing Wan froze. Her hand tightened around her pistol, eyes locked on the scene through a thin crack of light, and her finger began to tremble on the trigger. The killer's finger tightened on the trigger, but before the shot came, her AI assistant whispered in her ear, frowny face update. Shang Yu's reinforcements have arrived. Xing Wan held her breath, crouching deeper into the shadows. Her mind raced that if I save him now, when he inherits the Field family, he might owe me one. Maybe that debt could save Leslie later. Cold logic met reckless courage, and she made her choice. She lifted her gun. Bang. Her bullet hit the assassin's wrist, knocking his aim off. Bang. His shot still went off, grazing Shang Yu's arm. The man screamed, his gun clattering to the floor. Blood streamed between his fingers. Shang Yu reacted instantly, lunging forward, snatching the fallen weapon and firing point blank. Bang. The bullet punched through the assassin's forehead. Silence followed. The room stilled. Shang Yu crouched, pale, blood seeping down his sleeve. Xing Wan crawled out from under the desk. She grabbed his shoulder. Can you move? Where's the wound? He shook his head, just a scratch. Her eyes swept across the blood-soaked floor. Then let's go, now, she hissed. Shang Yu looked at her, surprised by her tone. For a moment he simply stared. This trembling girl, trying so hard to be fearless, shielding him without hesitation. Something in his chest tightened. Xing Wan slung his arm over her shoulder, and together they edged toward the door. Outside, boots pounded against concrete. Through the narrow crack she saw insignias, Shang Yu's men. Her lips curved into a small smile. Without thinking, she raised her gun, stepping in front of him again. He blinked, startled. What are you doing? The door exploded open before she could answer. Dozens of armed men stormed in, weapons raised. Gun barrels filled the room like black steel snakes. Xingwan stumbled back, straight into Shang Yu's chest. Shang Yu pulled Xingwan close, his breath brushing against her ear. Relax, he murmured. They're my men. The whisper was too close, too warm. Xingwan froze, her face flushing crimson. God, why does he have to stand this close? Within minutes, the villa was secured. A guard approached, sweat running down his temple. Boss, I didn't know he was a traitor. I swear. Shang Yu didn't even look angry. He simply gestured with one hand. Handle the cleanup. The guard blinked, stunned by the calmness. How can he be this composed after being shot? Another man came forward with a first aid kit, kneeling to disinfect and bandage the wound. The sting of antiseptic filled the air. Xingwan was still staring blankly, the echoes of gunfire replaying in her mind. Shang Yu glanced at her and smirked. Never killed anyone before, have you? Leslie must have kept you wrapped in glass. She didn't answer, just lowered her gaze. He watched her for a moment, then asked quietly, if you were so scared, why save me? Xingwan hesitated, then said softly, I thought if I saved you, you might help my father someday. She turned her head, eyes shimmering. Would you? She whispered. Shang Yu let out a faint laugh, shrugging. As you can see, I don't exactly need your help. The words hit harder than she expected. Her heart sank. Of course. Men like Shang Yu didn't move for emotion. Only gain. She bit her lip, stood up and turned to leave. Give me a few days, his voice stopped her. Helping Leslie isn't a profitable deal. Not yet. I'll need a reason. As the medic removed the bullet fragment, Xingwan thought for a long moment, then asked quietly, if you can't help him, can you at least promise not to help anyone else hurt him? Shang Yu looked up, amused. A fair request. He nodded once, a small smile on his lips. Xingwan exhaled deeply, finally letting the tension fade from her shoulders. At least for now, she thought, he's not a threat. And for the first time that night, she smiled. The chaos was gone, leaving only candlelight. The villa glowed in warm gold tones, 2 glasses on the table half filled with red wine. Shang Yu sat quietly, tapping the bottle with his fingers, his expression unreadable, thinking, calculating. Xingwan descended the stairs, her voice breaking the silence. You're still here? What's this? Another meeting? Shang Yu looked up, a faint smile curling his lips. Today's my birthday, he said simply. I don't have many friends. Have dinner with me? Xingwan blinked, awkwardly poking her cheek. Seriously? You could have told me sooner. I didn't even bring a gift. He chuckled softly. No need. A drink with me will do. She grinned, raising her glass. That I can manage. The glasses clinked softly. Happy birthday, she said with a small smile. They both drank, the red glint of wine reflected in the flickering flames. As he poured another round, Xingwan asked, you don't look like someone who just no more enemies, no more threats. Shouldn't you be celebrating? Shang Yu smiled faintly, pushing her glass closer. Desire never ends. Once a man wins a battle, he starts plotting the next one. Xingwan laughed lightly, then tossed the wine back in one gulp. Excuse me, she said, standing. I need to, clink. The glass hit the table. She took 2 steps, then her knees buckled. Shang Yu moved instantly, catching her before she hit the ground. The candlelight flickered across his face. Half shadow, half tenderness. He hesitated for a moment, then scooped her up in his arms. Her body went limp, her voice faint and slurred. I'm dizzy. He looked down at her, voice low, almost gentle. You're drunk. I'll take you to your room. She murmured drowsily. Okay. As Shang Yu carried her up the stairs, Xingwan leaned lazily against his shoulder. Didn't know you could drink this much, she teased. He shot back. It's not me, it's your lousy tolerance. Their breath mingled, heavy with wine and tension. He set her gently on the bed, about to leave, then paused, leaning in, one hand braced beside her. Xingwan. Her lashes fluttered open, confused, half awake. His gaze darkened. Be with me, he said quietly, each word deliberate. I'll help your father. She blinked, then smiled, a bold, taunting curve of her lips. She pushed him back, voice soft but sure. No deal. I don't belong to any man. He raised a brow, unbothered. Oh, and why is that? Xing Wan tilted her head up, eyes sparkling. Because, she said proudly, there are still thousands of cute boys out there, waiting for me to save them. Her grin was pure mischief, light chasing away the wine haze. Shang Yu couldn't help but laugh, shaking his head. Well, that's ambitious, so tell me, how many have you actually saved? Xing Wan waved a hand, about to reply. Then, thud, she dropped onto the pillow, out cold, breathing steady, peaceful. That he watched her for a long moment, then sighed softly. Troublemaker, he murmured. Morning. Sunlight crept through the curtains. The soft voice of the system broke the calm, frowny face. Alert. Yi Nanxing's mother. Critical condition. Xing Wan's eyes snapped open. She shot upright in a panic. No makeup, no bag. She just grabbed her coat and ran, racing to the hospital as fast as the city traffic would allow. At the emergency room doors, she stopped. Her breath hitched. The red in operation light flickered like a heartbeat she couldn't control. The doors slid open. The doctor looked up, voice heavy. I'm sorry that we did everything we could. Yi Nanxing froze. Then his knees gave out and Xing Wan caught him before he fell. His eyes were hollow, his grip desperate. She held him tightly, whispering through her own tears. It's okay, I'm here. Together they buried his mother. Days turned into weeks. When he finally smiled again, it was faint, fragile. A smile that no longer reached his eyes. The afternoon sun spilled through the window as Xing Wan stepped into a milk tea shop. The air smelled like sugar and roasted pearls, and 3 girls were crowding around Yi Nanxing. Can we get your WeChat? One of them giggled. Why? Yi Nanxing smiled politely but shook his head. My girlfriend wouldn't allow it. Then he glanced toward the door, right as Xing Wan walked in, smiling. I'm here to pick you up. He straightened instantly, his reply soft but obedient. That single syllable was enough to make the girls blush. The trio exchanged embarrassed looks, hugged their drinks, and slipped out whispering, God, that was so cute. Xing Wan walked up to the counter, teasing, You know, if you opened your own shop, you'd make a fortune just by smiling at people. Yi Nanxing turned crimson, murmuring, I'm gonna change. He disappeared into the back. She couldn't help laughing. That shy, awkward look on him was pure gold. Once he was gone, Xing Wan tapped her earpiece. System, what's his corruption level now? Report, black value, 10%. Only 10, she grinned. Perfect. Leaning back, she whispered to herself, Now it's all up to Leslie. Please don't screw it up again.